Welcome to the Indie Corner After Dark, where we're not only talking about all things independent comics, but everything comics. I'm Mikey.
I'm Seamus.
And today, people, we're back at it again with episode 29 of the Indie Corner After Dark podcast. And people, it's 11/6. It's November 6th, episode 29. And it's kind of impromptu because, we wanted to just do like a random, quick, fun discussion. To get the spirits up a little bit because I'm sad right now. So it's going to be our job to lift y'all up and by talking comics. So Shane, thanks for being here with me, bro. Appreciate you.
Wednesday, November 6th. The city's underwater. The National Guard's been called in. Martial law has been declared. I'm so glad it happened. I'm so glad this year was the year that all the Batman dates lined up, honestly.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's been keeping me sane lately is the fact that I'm like, okay, but the Batman dates are gonna line up and I get to post every time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I'm there's a lot of shit I'm excited to talk about because there's a lot of good shit out right now.
Yeah. I think the past few months and we're just gonna talk about not just some of the new comics that have come out recently, but just what we've been reading lately, just period. I feel like some of there's some really good books that have been coming out the past couple months. So
it's crazy to see two I guess pseudo relaunches happening at the same time, and both are working incredibly well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You don't normally see like from the big two new lines and two new relaunches that are both kind of fucking frying right now. Usually there's one thing that kind of shits the bed where you're like, oh no, New 52 sucks. But we're blessed right now.
Honestly, yeah. As a comic book fan, we're eating, and it's great. It's great. And let's just get right into it, bro. Let's cut it. But we're just gonna talk about just comics that we've been reading lately. And it's kind of like a pseudo recommendation to y'all for what y'all should be reading if you're looking for new books to read. Seamus, why don't you start? What's a book, Seamus, that you've been reading lately that you want to let people know about?
Gosh, it's tough. You're having me shoot off the cuff, and I could be stuck here talking about books for an hour. But I'd say most recent one that I read that I want to talk about is Jed MacKay's X-Men #7.
Mm-hmm.
Came out just today. I read it this morning because I needed some shit to do this morning.
Yeah.
And I think this is the strongest issue of the run so far.
Okay.
I think it primarily focuses on half the book is them continuing to run tests on the girl they picked up who is possibly a mutant that the Wild Sentinel at the beginning of the book possibly was going after, and they're not sure. And it's half that, which is all right, they have to move the plot along. But the part that I enjoyed was a extended flashback sequence where Scott and Magneto meet up after the fall of Krakoa, and they're basically just there debriefing from the Krakoa era. And it's done in a way that to me really speaks to how I'm feeling at this moment, and how I think many other people are feeling at this moment. And it's done in a way that is not overbearing. It's not it crazy in your face. It's just a very slight acknowledgement and a very because Scott and Magneto basically Scott's at his family's lodge in Alaska, and he's just sitting there drinking a beer, and Magneto shows up and he's like, Cyclops always has a plan, so what step of victory is this? And Scott's like, this is me trying to remember what victory even looks like at this point. And then Magneto's like, sitting here wallowing drinking beers is Logan behavior. And then Scott's like, all right, well, everyone likes him, so maybe I could learn a thing or two. Right. And then Magneto starts to push Scott to reform the X-Men, and Scott's like, I didn't ask for any of this bullshit. I didn't ask to be like groomed to be like the leader of an entire race of humans who have been, persecuted for years at this point. And Magneto's like, hey man, I didn't ask to be persecuted for being Jewish and put in camps, but when the world doesn't ask before it starts inflicting horrors upon us, it simply does, and then we're given a choice of either spiting it by surviving or dying. So what will your choice be? And then Scott's like, all right, you want a beer, man? And then him and Magneto just drinking beers going, we know we got to get back in the fight, but like, we're going to take a moment to like chill and drink a beer. And so they just drink a beer, and then the Wild Sentinel from the beginning of the book shows up from issue 1. And then you're like, all right, so that's how they decided to reform the X-Men. And it's like, damn. So and you get like a cool little action sequence where Magneto and Scott team up, and Magneto gets to say, to me, my X-Men, and Scott's like, it's just me, man. And Magneto's like, I'm practicing. Yeah. And it's very cute, and because when this book started, I felt a lot like how Scott's supposed to feel in this book, where I was like, I don't even know if I want to read this new era, even though it's Gail Simone and Jed MacKay, who I love. It is like, how many X-Men rebuild eras am I going to have to go through before, like, you know what I mean? Before I get sick of it. Because I'm getting sick of it right now. Just them constantly having some big new era, then getting wiped out, and then having a big new era, and then getting wiped out. And then this issue perfectly encapsulated how I felt through Scott and Magneto, of them going, we know that we have to get back in the fight. We know it probably will lead to another extinction, but we still have to try no matter what. But for now, we're going to sit here and take a break. And I think that's why this issue hit so hard for me, because it spoke to a feeling that I think I have and a lot of other people have. And that's why, as my first read this morning, we'll talk about some of the others I read this morning, but as my first read this morning, I was like, damn, that was a good issue. And I think this X-Men run might be slightly above Gail Simone's Uncanny X-Men run currently, for me.
Really?
I think so. I think I'm liking it a lot, purely because I think Jed MacKay is doing what he did expertly in Moon Knight, where he is basically doing more of a slow burn, where he's slowly introducing all of the characters and where they are personally at in the world before he starts having them operate in a team setting with these big plots. So he's basically doing slight monster of the week type stories while laying seeds for his big plot that he's planning on. But it's primarily been focused, each issue's been primarily focused on one of the X-Men. So, like, last issue was all about Magic and how she is currently, and it's I think that's what's really drawing me to the book, is the fact that I'm like, all right, if Jed MacKay is going to do what he did on Moon Knight, I'm going to be hype. If he's going to do what he's doing on Avengers, I might be a little less hype.
Okay, fair. I mean, yeah, I've been enjoying. I mean, I haven't read this issue yet. I'm caught up before this issue, but I've been enjoying Jed MacKay's run a lot. Even though, I mean, for me personally, I prefer Uncanny X-Men, but I do see your point where it's like, yeah, like he's just doing the stuff where he's doing with Moon Knight, where like, you know, he is kind of like changing a bit of the status quo a little bit with the X-Men, as we know from like Krakoa, but he's familiarizing like with different elements that we know the X-Men for. So I've really been enjoying a lot with it. I mean, I thought last issue was good. I thought the last issue with, like, you know, Temper and Magic, and meeting that young mutant girl, I thought was really, really cool.
And I think part of the reason I fuck with it so much is I really like this, like, team makeup. Like, it's just such like a team that is they're an angry team, but they are also like smart enough to know to like, because all of the characters on this book are all characters that, like, I know for a fact after the fall of Krakoa are probably all like, I'm so fucking pissed that we got like fucking bombed again and extincted again. You know what I mean? Decimated. Yeah. But they're all like, we know better than to like just operate purely off anger, so we're gonna try to just be the X-Men again. And I think that's what I like so much about it, is that dynamic. So
yeah, of course. Yeah, no, I think, yeah, no, I agree. Jed McKay's X-Men is good. I also like while we're on the topic of X-Men stuff, I wanted to just real quick just talk about Uncanny X-Men #4 because I read that like last week and I thought it was really good. Yeah, literally, it's like the whole like mystery within like this new villain Sarah Gaunt who has apparently seems like has a connection to Xavier.
Yeah, dude, it's like fucking like a girl Xavier dated, and I'm like, didn't he try to like leave her as soon as she was like, I'm pregnant?
Exactly. Yeah, he tried to dip the moment he was like, "Oh, you got a kid? I'm out."
Dude, I think it's so funny they keep fucking like adding new characters to character assassinate Xavier to make him more of a piece of shit retroactively. So right. it's gonna get to the point where Magneto is gonna be looking like the good
guy. True.
I do think though we are absolutely at this point due for a story that reckons with the idea that despite Charles Xavier maybe not being the best person, that his intentions and actions are maybe the best.
Yeah, I think so, especially because doing like how so like seeing what Sarah Gaunt is now, like we get like a little bit of backstory in this issue about like what her backstory is and what her motives are, but we still really know much about her. So like to see like like just Charles Xavier abandoning her and her kid turns her into this, and it's just like
she's crazy. She's like this evil fucking like witch, but I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. Like in this issue, like which is I think is a really good Rogue issue and kind of shows how like great of a leader she is in terms of like why she is the leader of this version of the X-Men. And it's just like she gets her ass like rocked, but yet gets back up again to fight this girl to the point where she has to absorb her abilities, and it amps her up even more. And it's like a really good Rogue versus Sarah Gaunt action fight in here that I thought was like so fitting for Rogue's character arc that they're setting up here. Also love like the use of Kurt in here as well, and also like the New Mutant characters. I'm starting to like love like this. I'm keep referring to them as the New Mutants, but like the new characters that
they're the new mutants.
They're the new mutants, man.
I like them. I think they all gave them. I think they're suffering from new character syndrome in that they all have now uber specific powers that are like, okay, like, like you know what I mean? Like we're at the point in comics where 100 years in, we are like throwing any specific power at the wall to the point where they're becoming JoJo stands at this point. But I like them. I do like the characters. I think they'll settle into this X-Men team fairly well because I like the idea that half of it is the very established X-Men characters and then the other half are all new. And like you said, I really did like how this issue did make me believe that I was like, okay, I could see Rogue carrying an X-Men led book for a long term. You know what I mean? Because before I was like, well, this could be like a cool short run, you know what I mean? Like a 20-issue run. And then this issue, I was like, okay, you know what? I think I could see Rogue doing like a long ass, like 100 issues of being like the X-Men leader. And I'm excited to see how her and her team's dynamic plays with Scott and his team's dynamic in the next arc.
Because they are in contact with each other, like on.
Yeah, they've been talking, and then the next arc is going to be them raiding the Grey Malkin, which is the Xavier school.
And then we're going to see who is the. Did we get a reveal of who the mystery character is that's locked up in the school?
Yeah, it's fucking. What the fuck was his name? Deadpool. No. Can you imagine if it was Deadpool though?
No, last time I saw Deadpool was he got ate by a monster in X-Force, which again, X-Force is also a good book.
X-Force has been pretty good.
It's been pretty fun, and I like it a lot. I gotta read the new issue. But, man, Uncanny X-Men is dope. Also, like Wolverine gets his shit rocked in this, and it's crazy.
Wolverine gets fucked up, which I'm like, yo.
But but yeah, bro. I'm sorry, real quick. Out of all your out of the four new mutant characters, which one is like your favorite? Like that you like the most?
I listen. I fuck with the Japanese kid. Give me him. Him and his like death spirit ability.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
it's easily the coolest. That I'm just like instantly like. And then the Pegasus girl. I was just like, that's just so specific and interesting that it's like, yeah, sure, give me a.
I do agree. I do like, like the Death Kid. He's really fun. He has some of the best like humor just because it's so like it's just dark humor.
Oh yeah, dude. He has the driest humor, and I'm like, dude, I've missed a character not being quippy and just having dry humor in a book because they don't really do that anymore.
And then it's him, and then I think Jitter, who is the Singaporean girl who has like the timer set, the stopwatch. I think she's cool just because her power is just like ADHD times 1,000.
Which is, and it's interesting that she has a limit on that. So it's kind of like super speed and shit and all that with like, but like only for like a period of time. And I'm like, all right, that's a cool way to tie in.
It's like super speed and like she can literally do anything she sets her mind to like 5 minutes.
Yeah. And then after those 5 minutes are up, she has to switch to something else. So that's like a power that I could totally see being super cool in certain fights where it's like you know what I mean? Like, cool, I'm proficient at hand-to-hand combat for 5 minutes, but then after 5 minutes, I gotta switch to something else or think of something else. So.
Exactly. But yeah, bro. Well, what else? What else you got? What's another book you wanna?
Oh my god.
There's a lot, bro. There's a lot of books that came out just the past like couple weeks alone.
Yeah. Gosh, I don't even know. I might. You know what? I'm gonna stay with Marvel because we'll just do all Marvel first, and then we'll do all DC.
Yeah, facts. We'll do that. Yeah.
Because we don't. Because if we start jumping around, we're gonna be like, oh shit, I forgot this. Oh shit, I forgot that. Do you want to jump into Ultimate Universe real quick, or?
Yeah, sure.
Are you feeling like it? Because we did. That, okay, so
Well, for starters, did you read the new Ultimate X-Men?
I did.
Yeah. What did you do that?
That book, dude. I'm so glad that I'm vindicated on that book because I've been out here telling everyone, I've been like, this is a slow burn. Okay, fucking relax. Let it cook. And then slowly, as we started getting all those reveals, I was like, yep, they're cooking. I'm like, listen, guys, reading this in a trade is gonna hit. You're gonna like fucking knock your socks off. And then this new issue came out, and I was just like, yes. Oh, it was shit that had me like, oh, excited. I've been very excited about this book. I love Peach Momoko.
She's such a great artist, dude. She's phenomenal.
Yeah, and like, fuck, did they? Was it? I can't, because I wanted to talk about Plot Point, but then I instantly was like, was that in a solicitation or was that in a... So I'm scrolling through real quick to see if I was like, was it this book? All right, it was not this book. I'm not going to talk about it then. But yeah, I loved just all of like all the Kageyama stuff, all of the Children of the Atom, just lore building that they were doing with like social media and stuff.
Yeah, right.
I do like how it's like a Japanese doomsday cult that are like, it's the end of the world because we are here, and so, you know what I mean, like, and we'll survive the end of the world through being mutants, and it's like cool. That's like a cool flip.
It's cool. It's cool cult stuff. Like it's. I thought it was really cool. I mean, yeah, just I did like the whole like the reporter like trying to go after like armor. I thought that was really cool. I do think that the social media stuff involving the Children of the Atom I thought was really interesting. And yeah, the fact that like they're setting something huge up just with the Children of the Atom, like especially like at the end of the issue where like Maestro, who like I thought Maestro was like a take on Mr. Sinister. I could be wrong.
Yes, no, he's entirely, I think, supposed to be Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, he's just like, we're gonna like, be responsible for like the destruction of the world so that we can thrive. Yay. So just seeing like how that's gonna happen and seeing like how our main characters are gonna try to stop that is really cool.
Yeah, I love seeing Natsu use her power finally.
Awesome, dude. I thought that was dope. The thing is, like, I thought the eye patch was like kind of like like kind of like similar to like Scott's in like the main universe, where it's like
Mhm.
this records there, so like it's active all the time, but she the iPad's supposed to stop it. No, she can just activate it whenever, anytime she wants.
Yeah.
And it just burns through the iPad.
Yeah, because she said, I think I remember her saying that it was because her eye is like a deep red color and it looks weird to everyone.
Mhm.
So she just covers it up because
yeah.
she's like, I don't want people like fucking with me because of it.
Exactly. Yeah. True that. Also, like I forgot the other character, but I think because obviously we have Nico, obviously a Runaways character.
Mhm.
Isn't the other girl with the ears, isn't she supposed to be like a Japanese version of like Molly from like the Runaways?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And I love that character. I love Molly in the comics. So I'm waiting for her to use her power.
It's funny how I enjoy it a lot because I always, when I started reading this, I was like, this is giving Runaways vibes instantly.
It is. It really is.
So I'm glad to see Peach Momoko like acknowledge and recognize that and be like, no, yeah, it's supposed to have Runaways vibes. That's why these guys are here. And I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, it was a great issue. I enjoyed it a lot. It definitely is still on a slow build, but I think I have full confidence that when this starts getting up and running, it's gonna hit.
I mean, next issue is gonna be, from what I saw from the cover, is gonna be like the face off between Maystorm and Surge finally.
Yeah, and that's what makes me think that. I mean, and now that we're like 8 or 9 issues in, we're gonna start getting like some actual, like, we're gonna start moving, and I think once it starts moving, it's not gonna stop, and we're gonna be like, whoa, fuck yeah. So
yes sir.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
So do you want to talk about Ultimates? You want to talk about Ultimate Spider-Man real quick? Because Ultimate Spider-Man, I think, is a quick one. Yeah.
Well, Ultimate Spider-Man is a quick one, not because it's shit, because it's a great issue. It's
amazing. I honestly think it's my favorite issue of the series so far. I thought it was phenomenal. But yeah, just the fact that it's focused more on, it's a Ben and Jonah focused issue of them investigating, like, what's going on with like Oscorp, and like they get onto Harry, and then they tie him into, they really figure out that, like, he is, the Green Goblin and all that. I just love this, like, yeah, like it's Jonah and it's Ben and his best friend Jonah investigating while trying to, like, bring up their paper to like the mainstream. I thought it was really cool. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. And there's no Spider-Man in it at all.
Yeah. It was just like that gave me original Ultimate Spider-Man vibes. The fact that they do an entire issue, no Spider-Man, barely any Peter. It's all about Uncle Ben and Jonah, and you're like, fuck, dude. This is like, it's the best issue purely because they're able to pull off a Jonah and Uncle Ben investigative journalism issue that is entirely compelling and also moves the plot along. It just, and like the whole Harry conversation, the whole dealings with Gwen, the fact that like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if I went back in like 2006 and I told Spider-Man readers, I was like, yeah, in 2024 we get a Spider-Man issue where Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson do investigative journalism by questioning Harry Osborn's wife, Gwen Stacy, who's the head of Oz Corp, and like they're trying to figure out who Green Goblin is. Their heads would fucking explode. They'd be like, what the fuck do you mean Uncle Ben and Gwen Stacy are alive? Weren't those the two people that were never supposed to be alive again? And I'm like, wait till you hear this, pal.
Oh man, it's
I was
crazy.
Like, and can you imagine being like, yeah, you know that Reed Richards you're reading in Ultimate Fantastic Four right now? He's the villain. So I think this I'm excited for the future of this book. This book has been on fire the entire time.
It's funny because I remember like Double Toasted was talking about like the new Ultimate books, and I put in the comments under the Indie Corner in using our account that like of all my thoughts about like the Absolute Universe and like Ultimate Spider-Man, And someone had the nerve to reply to my comment was like, it is not the best. Well, I don't understand why. Like he was trying to make a case that like, oh, like I don't understand why people were saying that Ultimate Spider-Man is like the best Spider-Man thing out like right now. And it was like I just couldn't understand it. I was like, why are you hating, bro? Why are you hating on this book? It's like really.
I mean, I think dude obviously hasn't read it, because if he read it, he would have been like, yeah, because it's just the way that Hickman is able to infuse it's a very compelling and prescient theme into each of these issues in different ways. Like the fact that Jonah and Ben have, inspired Peter to become Spider-Man through their discussions with him about how Peter needs to be more active in what he wants in life, and that he has to take back the life that he thinks he deserves. And we're seeing where that comes from with Ben and Jonah, with them, just doggedly chasing this story of who controls Oscorp, what all these shell companies are from, and slowly going up to the top and getting to the point where they're like, holy shit, Kingpin's directly working for the Maker and the Maker's Council, and finding out about all that. And then at the end of the issue, breaking the story. And it's like, they are having just as much of an effect as Spider-Man is existing in the world, which is like what's so interesting. And so like it's a mark of you know what I mean? It's like, big shocker, Jonathan Hickman's a good writer, but it's really like he's so surprisingly good every time, because every time you're like, he can't get any better, and then he drops like an issue like this and you're like, fuck, dude. So
I mean, and those are like, we talked about it, but I thought it was brilliant, the fact that, like you said, we need to like release this story about the Kingpin without like exposing our identities, because like he could kill us. So we're just coming with our own identity. Yeah, we'll call it. We'll say that the writer who wrote this story is none other than trusty reporter Ben Reilly, and I was like, yes, loved it. It's Hickman's. He's a great writer. Like you said, like no brainer. So. Yeah, man. That's Ultimate Spider-Man. People read that shit if you haven't already. And I think you want to talk about Ultimates. Like, we'll Ultimates. Like, it's funny, for people that don't know, but right before we started, that's the reason why we were late, is because Seamus wanted me to read Ultimates back before, because he knew I was gonna like love it.
Because you were like, oh, I'll get to it eventually, and I was like, no, we're gonna talk about this right now, because I want to talk about this with you. And I was sat there, and I was like, no, listen, I'll play a match of Call of Duty while you read this. And we over the call, the entire time I was just hearing you go like, oh my god.
True, man. And it's funny because like ever since the Ultimates came out, we've been seeing like the solicits, and I saw, and after reading the Hulk, the She-Hulk issue, I was waiting for this issue to come out, because like Ultimate Hulk, as we've said previously, like off camera, was like so interesting to the point where like he's a fucking psycho. Like at the guy, and he's a psycho disguised to the world as like a Buddhist patron, like pacifist saint. And it's just like, it's so interesting. Like it's like if Gandhi was a Hulk that committed atrocities on the low, this is what this character is. No, I mean, this version of Banner. Yeah, man, it's just the Ultimates. It's pretty much the face-off of like now the complete roster, which I think is incredible. And I was telling you off camera, shit, like, I love the fact that they added Jim Hammond to this too. Like it just really cool.
They got Jim Hammond from that Ultimate Universe issue like that dropped in like June, and I was like, fuck yeah. And I just love like the whole roster. Thinking about it is it's Captain America, Iron Lad, Thor, Sif, She-Hulk, Human Torch, Ant-Man, Wasp, and then Hawkeye,
America Chavez,
America Chavez too, and it's
and Doom.
Don't sleep on Doom, man.
Don't sleep on post-traumatic Reed Richards, which is what they call it.
Dr. Depression, my boy. It's a team that like if it was in a mainline Avengers book, I'd be like, I don't know about that, but in this, the way that Denise Camp has each character symbolize a very different and a very specific portion of the downtrodden society that we kind of like exist in today, and then has them all come together and coalesce into this team that is built to fight the oppressors of this world, is something that I think is the most it's the most topical, it's the most prescient book that is being released currently.
Yeah.
And I think just the way that it speaks to a lot of the feelings that people have been having towards our own world and our own society is like, it's I don't want to speak out of line. I don't want to say shit that might upset people, but I think if this book stays like this for the entirety of its run, I think we will have a book that rivals Watchmen in terms of cultural impact eventually. Because I think when you look at this book and you look at the way it's constructed and you look at the way that it exists in the universe that was created for it, it really speaks to a lot of the stuff that you kind of need in comics. You know what I mean? It pays tribute to the origins of comics itself by having an entire group of working class people who gain extraordinary powers, and their first reaction is to try to use it to fight their oppressors and enact some kind of good in the world. And I think that's why every issue for me has hit in some way, because every issue explores a different facet of society that has been beaten. Through the power that one of their members gains, they can slowly rise up and then, enact the change that they so desperately need in the world. And I think that's why this issue hit so hard for me, because you spend 5 straight issues building that up, and then the first time they go up against the Hulk, they get smattered. And it's like, yep, I know these guys are called the Ultimates, but at their heart, they still are the Avengers. You know what I mean? Yeah, they still are going to get smacked around a couple of times before they pull out the W. And I think this time was a perfect encapsulation of like, yes, these people have the heart, these people have the spirit, but they do not have the training to be able to go up against Hulk and his immortal weapons. And I think that's why this was my favorite issue.
Crazy.
Yeah,
like I would agree. This would be my favorite issue as well. And
I think just the way
you know me, bro. I'm a huge Immortal Iron Fist fan, and it was very nice to see.
We both are, man.
How Denise Cam merges the Immortal Iron Fist stuff that is like set up, that like Ed Brubaker and Matt Fraction set up with the character that's iconic in my opinion, and integrate that with like Bruce Banner, like this version of Bruce Banner. I thought it was brilliant, and it was just like it was so much of it was a fun surprise. Was so fun. I was like, this is crazy.
Like, I said this to you off camera, but I was like, I think that I am very glad to have a writer who is a deep fan of comic books. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, he's not a fan of comics. He's not a fan of comic characters. Denise Camp is directly a fan of the Matt Fraction, David Aja run of Hawkeye. He's a fan of the Ed Brubaker, Matt Fraction run of Immortal Iron Fist. And in each of the books that he writes the character for, he has the entire issue themed around a run of that character, which is beautiful to me. You know what I mean? Like the Cap issue was entirely themed around the original Ultimates Cap, and like the dichotomy between Mark Millar's post 9/11 Ultimates and this new age Ultimates that Denise Camp's trying to run, and like. You know what I mean? With the many references to like the original Ultimates book and that Cap issue, and then having the Hawkeye run be heavily referenced to the David Aja Matt Fraction run with a lot of the visual style taken, and then now with this, with like you were pointing out, they're using like the finishing move names that were present in the Immortal Iron Fist run. They're using the immortal weapons that were introduced there, but giving it like a Hulk spin. And it just shows such like a love of comic books themselves that like it's like we're so blessed to have a writer who like loves comic books and is also like an extremely talented writer.
I really did enjoy it. I thank you for making me not do the forced thing of me waiting later to read it.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, and I especially that ending, dude. Which I won't say here, but it was. I'm so looking forward to reading this next month. I can't wait. Like, I can't wait, bro.
Yeah, it's. I think that, like I said, if this remains at the quality it does, we're having like an all-timer run on our hands.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so like, I just can't wait. It has me excited to see the rest of the universe and what he does, and that Ultimate Universe issue that's dropping in December is going to hit like crack for me, because I'm going to get to see like Nick Fury, and then like the solicitations for the issues that are coming in 2025 got me. I'm getting like Luke Cage. I'm getting like a time displaced future version of Captain Marvel who's with the Guardians of the Galaxy. You know what I mean?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm getting versions of these characters that I know are going to speak to issues that are very prevalent in our society today, and how normal people like us can stand up to those issues. You know what I mean? Like that Luke Cage issue, dude, about the prison, dude, an entire issue about the prison industrial complex.
Yeah,
it's gonna hit like crack, dude, because we're gonna get a writer who's gonna be like, "Fuck this shit." He's gonna outright be like, "Fuck this," and I'm gonna be like, you know. So I think it is so interesting, speaking to the universe as a whole, to see a universe so diametrically opposed to its origins. You know what I mean? You look at the original Ultimate Universe, and you look at this Ultimate Universe, and you just see like that's why I enjoy this one so much better. That's why I was on the hype train when they announced it was coming back, because I was like, we are going to get like the best version of the Ultimate Universe, because we're doing Marvel right now, but instead of making it so that way we can just like attract teenagers by making it edgy, and like it's right now Spider-Man kisses Gwen Stacy, who's his adopted sister. Isn't that salacious? Don't you want to read that? And you being like, gross. Instead, now we're getting issues that are like, you know what I mean? Like, Iron Lad's trying to fight pollution and the effects it has on newborn babies, and how they come out deformed but still have to live their lives under an entire group of care. You know what I mean? And how depressing that is. Or like how Captain America has to reckon with the fact that America has fallen, and that the star that he wears on his chest is no longer exists, and how he has to carry the American dream on his back by himself because America doesn't exist anymore, and how you can move forward despite having your faith in your country entirely wiped out. And it's like, yeah, that's Marvel right now. You know what I mean? Yep. We're finally having like adult conversations in our books. So
yeah.
And this book really might be my favorite of the year. It might be my favorite of this decade. I just love this book so much. Like, I'm very glad it exists. I'm very glad this universe exists. I'm eager to see the first climactic battle in a year's time when the Maker finally comes back. But
which is gonna be crazy.
I wonder how Miles is gonna play in all of this. You know, because they still haven't said anything about that card that the Maker gave him. And I don't. Well, I have no idea if the original Ultimate Universe will also play into this at all. Given that, they just fucking were like, yeah, original Ultimate Universe is still around. In fucking Spider-Boy, they literally were like, yeah, he just goes to the original Ultimate Universe. Isn't that funny? And I'm like, wait, hold the phone. Fucking, I know we saw it. It was still there at the end of whatever the fuck that run was. Yeah. Spider-Man 2, but like we haven't been there yet. Like, what the fuck? You're just gonna drop that on fucking issue 8 of Spider-Boy and then leave?
Yeah.
What the hell are we doing? So yeah, I'm gonna stop gushing about this book so we can move on. But
yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, real quick, is there any, before we go on to like DC stuff, is there any indie books you want to also drop? I have one. No, actually, no. First off, one more Marvel book for me. Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead with your Marvel book.
Yo, so like the last Marvel book I'm gonna be talking about real quick. I'm hoping you read it. I'm really hoping you read it. but is the new relaunch of Blade by Brian Hill.
I did because you told me to read it.
Dude, okay. This book is dope. Again, Brian Hill is just making Blade books great again.
Dude, he's gonna be like your writer of the year, given how much you like his Blade and how much you like his Ultimate Black Panther.
Dude, listen, man. Because obviously people that don't know, he did a Blade series that kind of ended earlier this year, and then it also followed up with Jed McKay's Blood Hunt event, which was also an amazing event that I really enjoyed. That was really fun. And this is just the aftermath. This issue 1 is the aftermath of that, where it's Blade coming to terms with being possessed by an ancient vampire demon and being used as a vessel to end the world. And it's him coming to terms by that, coming to terms with that, and dealing with it by going to Asia and just being in solitude and meditating by himself, and he tries to turn put his rage into making an actual sword that he used that he can use to go back and fight vampires with again. And it's really cool because he's just he's kind of no fuck is given at this point. He's listen, I still got my mission to do, but I don't really give about what anybody thinks. I'm just gonna just do me and just do my own thing until these weird ass magicians show up and it's hey yo, we want you to deal with a vampire threat for us real quick. And he's just no, bye. But then they end up getting involved by the time they try to get him involved by forcing him to do it, which again, you don't want to force Blade to do anything. He pretty much, deals with them, kills them all, and then realizes, oh, wait, fine. Okay, if they actually really wanted me to, deal with this threat, I might as well do it. And we get a dope-ass reveal of, who this new vampire threat is. And this vampire threat is, experimenting on people, which is also motivates Blade to, get in there and to, take them out. But, hey, Seamus, how did you feel when I told you, you have to read this book because this Blade villain is, it's a really cool twist on an iconic family of vampire hunters.
Dude, I was like, he better not be talking about what I think he's talking about.
Yeah, bro. So yeah, Blade is fighting a relative of the Van Helsings that is turned into a vampire. And I'm just yes, that's such a cool idea. Because I don't really think that the Van Helsings have been a thing in Marvel Comics yet. I don't know if they have or not. But yeah, man, it's just I thought that twist alone of okay, Blade has to fight not just a Van Helsing, but a vampire turned Van Helsing. That's really, really cool. And I thought the artwork by I'm forgetting his name. Try to look up the artist on this book. I thought did a better job. I like this. I think this art style fits more with Blade than the previous artist on the original series, Brian Hill series. CF Villa. I thought he did a really good job with the artwork in this issue. I thought it was great. But yeah, man, it's just Blade fighting a vampire threat, and I think it's awesome, and it's again, I'm really excited to see what this version of Van Helsing is going to be capable of. I'm very excited to see it. Seamus, what are your thoughts, bro? Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I really Brian Hill's Blade has been some of my favorite Blade books released ever because he just understands the character on a fundamental level that it's this guy just gets it. There are writers who can write a character really good, and then there are writers who it seems like they just created that character. And Brian Hill's one of those that you're just this guy just feels like he was the creator of Blade. He just knows, he understands Blade, and it leads to these really flawless stories like this. And I really like this issue a lot. I really did.
Yeah, man, it is good stuff. It's great. It's great. But yeah, bro. You want any indie books you want to recommend? Let's just do one indie book right now.
Oh,
and then
real quick. I got one more Marvel book I forgot. Real quick. I know you don't have I forgot to mention it. Fucking Fantastic Four, man.
Oh, okay.
Ryan North's Fantastic Four, the newest issue might have been like the funniest Halloween issue I've ever seen, because the entire like if you don't know anything about the run, the Fantastic Four and all their children are living together in the Grimm family farm in Arizona, and basically they now have a teleporter between the Baxter building and the Grimm family farm, and they're basically living at the family farm because they're like, a lot of crazy shit happens. It'd probably be better to be out of the city, and just have a teleporter between, so we can just still have like a quiet life out there, but also if we're needed, we can just teleport back. And so the kids are and everyone are in New York trick or treating, and Johnny and Reed are at the Grimm family farm, and Reed is, after the events of Blood Hunt and all that, he's building a magic detector to be like, all right, we should be able to find Doom if he starts fucking around at all. And he uses it and basically is like, oh, that's weird. There's a giant magic spot in Grimm's basement. And the story is basically about how Johnny and Reed basically feed each other's worst aspects on accident. So, because Johnny's just so inquisitive that he just feeds Reed's like, yes, we should investigate this. And Reed's so investigative that he's finding completely new situations that Johnny's like, yes, I'd love to jump into that without thinking. So of course they just start digging in the basement, and they remove this giant rock, and it opens up a hell mouth where all of these spirits basically start coming through, and hell starts coming through the portal. And they're like, we have no fucking idea how to fix it. Like, we tried to put the rocks back, we tried like pouring water in it and shit. We don't know what the fuck's going on. And now there's a hole through the roof of Ben Grimm's house. And so
Yeah.
so they look up the name of like the that was heard from the spirits, and they basically find out there's this ritual going on with this skull that's basically eternally spitting blood. And they're like, okay, if it's eternally spitting blood, then basically the matter that's coming from our universe will beat out the matter that's coming from their universe, and it'll cancel each other out and basically cancel the portal out if we just leave the skull made of blood by the portal. We're just basically gonna cap it that way. And so they basically steal it from this occult like thing that's going on, and Reed and Johnny are basically like carrying this little skull with a top hat that's constantly just vomiting blood through these catacombs while being shot out by these cultists. And Reed does maybe like the grossest dodge of a bullet I've ever seen, where he splits his head in half, and it just looks so gross. And I'm like, yes, we're back to Reed having gross ass powers. And so
that's disgusting.
So they put the skull by the Hellmouth, and they're like, look, we did it, because the torrents of the fucking Hellmouth just dissipate, and they're like, see, we know how to solve problems. And then they cement up the hole and everything, and they're like, see, the basement's good as new. And then everyone comes back at that moment, and they're covered in blood, and there's a hole in the house. And it's revealed that the whole story was Johnny telling the story to everyone who came back. And he's like, and that, my friends, is how we solve the problem of the basement Hellmouth forever. And Reed's like, obviously we're going to fix the house. And then everyone's standing there in Halloween costumes, and they're like, of course this happens. Like, of course we leave you to home for one night, and now there's a hole and you guys are covered in blood.
Yeah.
And Johnny's like, but we saved the world. And Reed's like, of course, we saved the world, and we investigated, and we did it. And Sue's like, but you didn't need to. You didn't need to do any of this. You could have left it be. And you're the ones who opened the Hellmouth. And they're like, well, yes, but like, we had to investigate, and we had to fix it. And the entire family's just like, we cannot leave you two alone ever again, because you guys will fuck up again. And then all the kids are like, anyway, can we see the eternally spitting blood skull? And then Sue is like, fine. And she makes the floor invisible, and she just sees like a Hellmouth with an eternally spitting blood skull below them. And all the kids are like, yo, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then she's like, all right, kids, it's time for bed. And then Reed's like, by the way, I definitely destroyed half of their rooms. So then everyone has to have a sleepover with Uncle Johnny in a tent outside the Grimm family farm's house. And it's just like, this book is so good at making the Fantastic Four feel like a family. Just so, yeah. I just love it. I love it so much. Like, okay, so Ben is dressed as Gandalf, and his dog is dressed as Jeff the Shark, and then Ben's kids are dressed as Captain Marvel and Captain America, but then Valeria is dressed as Doctor Doom for Halloween, and Franklin's dressed as Spider-Man, and dude, fucking Alicia Masters is dressed as Ben when he's wearing like the noir outfit with the jacket and everything.
That's funny.
and then Sue is just Indiana Jones.
That's hilarious.
And I'm like, yeah, everyone else went comic characters, and Sue was like, fuck that, I'm going as my job. Fuck you. But this book is so fucking good. I understand why people hype this book up. You know, I caught up with it recently, and I was just like, damn. I love how every issue makes them feel like a family while also solving some super specific scientific problem, where it's less of like, let's fight this guy, and more like, how do we stop a waterborne virus from spreading across the earth? And it's like, by blocking out the sun for 3 days. And you're just like, it has a lot of JoJo vibes of just like, this is an uber specific fight and an uber specific problem that requires such a specific solution that only the Fantastic Four could come up with. And that's why I enjoy the book so much.
Yeah, that's awesome. Maybe I'll check it out because I'm not really much of a Fantastic Four guy, but I mean, like, I
think you'd like this run would make you like the Fantastic Four because it's literally just like. It's like a lot of the issues are just like one-off like stories that you can just pick up and read and be like, you know what I mean? You are getting development through each issue, but it is more of just like, it feels like a great TV show. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's what's up.
So yeah, I think that's all I have for Marvel books right now.
Okay.
So
it's funny because like now every time that like we say, oh yeah, we're gonna move on to like something, no, like I keep thinking of more Marvel shit.
Oh, do you have one? Fuck
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I have one more. Because obviously, you know, we love Jed McKay's Moon Knight. I would recommend like Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu, but like nah, like we've gushed about Moon Knight enough. But like, here's the thing, right? I don't think people know that much about like this other series that's Moon Knight related that's like out right now. But Marvel dropped an anthology and they're on issue 3. Issue 3 just dropped like this week. Last week. Have you been reading Phases of the Moon Knight? By Jed McKay?
I have indeed.
This book is so cool. Like I just like the fact it's pretty much just like it's pretty much an anthology focusing on like different iterations of Moon Knight, either past, present, and future. So obviously we got like the first 2 issues. We got a story with like Mark and with the Shroud as Moon Knight, but also we got the first issue also focused on like another story involving like Moon Knight from like the Crusades, or in like this one was like a Moon Knight from like the far like distant future. I think this issue, like I'm surprised like it took Jed McKay to give us something like this, because I've always wondered as like a Moon Knight fan what other versions of Moon Knight have existed either in the past, present, either in the past or in the future. So I do like the fact that they're taking not just Jed McKay, but also other writers and other artists. So yeah, like expand the Moon Knight universe a bit more, and see what other Moon Knights have been like. And I think it's really, really fun. And I know this new issue focuses on kind of like a kind of anime inspired Moon Knight, female Moon Knight, which I think is really cool. That's pretty much all I gotta say. I mean, check this out. If you love Jed McKay's Moon Knight, check out this as well. It's pretty much it's him expanding on the Moon Knight universe, and I think it's really, really. I think it's great. I think it's a great idea, and I love it so far.
I do love more Moon Knight lore getting added.
Exactly. Yeah, that's love. We love some good Moon Knight lore on the indie corner, man. It's good stuff. But yeah, okay, that's it with Marvel stuff. Real quick, I mean, I'm gonna just give one indie rec that like I feel like people have to read. I don't, Seamus, I know do you have anything like indie wise you want to rec before we move on to like DC stuff?
Yeah, I got a book I read this week. I read We Called Them Giants by Kieran Gillen and
out?
Stephanie Hans. Yep.
I didn't know it was out.
Yep. You're lacking.
Okay.
This is the indie corner, and this fucker don't even know this came out on the 30th of October. Been like a week.
Oh, actually, on second thought, I did realize Sal and Tiffany did talk about it. Yep.
I read it and I loved it. I love this shit. Which is like no surprise because I was a big fan of Die when that was being.
Die is incredible. Where we like I've said this before, but like right after we do Deadly Class, that Die is the next book that we're doing.
Die is good. Yeah, this I really enjoyed this. This was really some like. I mean, it's Kieran Gillen. Of course, Kieran Gillen's going to be able to write some really insane sci-fi story, and this is no exception. It just was such like an ethereal book because Stephanie Hahn's art is just like
it's amazing. She's
I love whenever they collaborate together. It's just like on all those Angela books on Die. It's always just like she just understands his kind of creative vision so fully that it's like I can't imagine another artist working with him, and whenever one does, it always just feels like ever so slightly off because you're like, you know.
Yeah, it's one of those pairings that like need to happen. You know,
yeah,
it's just like that works so well together. Like you know, like Aja and Fraction, or like Facuccio and Jed McKay, or you know, like something like it works so well. You know. But yeah, I was very surprised. Cause I thought this was gonna be released like you know issue by issue, but it's actually I mean I thought it was really cool that they released it as like an original graphic novel for Image, which is I think it's a cool move because you don't really get to see a lot of original graphic novels be dropped by you know Image Comics these days. You know, just a complete story in full. But yeah, no, I will definitely. I gotta read this because I was waiting for it the moment I heard it was announced. Back I think sometime last year. So yeah, I will get on it. Thanks, Seamus. Thanks for reminding me that I am lacking. But the indie book that I want to recommend real quick, which I feel like everyone has to read, is none other than and I think the new issue just came out like last week, but I haven't read it yet. But I'm gonna read it like probably right after we finish this up. But Nice House by the Sea by James Tynion. Martinez Bueno, which says DC Black Label, but now, which we're talking about, you know, after this is like, you know, it's gonna be a DC Vertigo title now. If you haven't been reading this book, man, like people read it. If you love, like, and me and Seamus are stands of this book, but if you love Nice House by the Lake, Nice by the Sea is no exception. This book is incredible. And the thing is, like, when I was going into it, Seamus, I think I talked to you about this before. I thought it was supposed to be a separate contained story within the world of Nice on the Lake. Like, I thought it was like, yeah, new people, new location, new people. I did like the fact that the twist with this one is that, like, yeah, with Nice on the Lake, like everyone in the house knew each other. They were all friends or acquaint or friends of Walter. But in this one, this was brand new people that don't know each other. These are all strangers that don't know each other. Which I thought was a really good change of pace with the story. But the best thing about this series, which again caught me off guard because I thought it was going to be self-contained, but no, this is a direct sequel to Nice on. This is Nice on the Lake Book 2, and I was like, yes, because the main character here has and I don't want to spoil anything, but has a tie to the character of Walter in the previous series. So I was very, very like the moment I read issue 2, I
had to go back and be like, was he mentioned in the first one?
I really had to, dude. I looked back too, and I was like, I think he was like kind of like offhand.
I was gonna say because I was like, when I look back, I was like, I think because I wasn't able to, I didn't go through the whole first Exiles on the Lake, but like, I was like, I do vaguely remember them mentioning his name like twice in those flashback moments. So I was like, is this that guy? You know what I mean? Like, was that like? Because it did hit me, and even though I didn't, I wasn't able to fully check when they did reveal that, I was like, I vaguely remember that. So that got me really excited when that happened.
It's really dope, and the fact that like Oliver, who we're referring to, he's the character on the main cover. He has a tie to Walter, and also he is kind of hinted that he knows more than he's led on to believe. When he goes into this new iteration of the house, and again, yeah, it is a direct sequel to Nights on the Lake, and I'm not gonna tell you how it is. Outside of like the old Walter relationship between the Walter relation with Oliver. But like, if you love the previous series, this book will put a smile on your face. I swear, I love it, dude. I love it a lot. I know issue 4 dropped last week, so I'm gonna take a look at that. But so far, issues 1 through 3 this has definitely made the top 10 list for sure. I've been enjoying it a lot.
Oh yeah, it's good shit.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, man. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I mean, like, obviously, there's a bunch more comics that like I haven't mentioned that like I would love to like recommend y'all, but we're on time here. Like, come on, I want like Public Domain. Come on now, great Birds of Prey.
Yeah, Public Domain.
Alien versus Avengers. Like
Alien versus Avengers, I didn't talk about purely because there's only been 2 issues out right now.
Yeah,
I like both of them. They're good. Birds of Prey, I feel like we talked about a lot before. It's still fucking good. It's still Kelly Thompson ripping it. It's still a great roster. It's just
Kelly Thompson might make the best writer list.
I was gonna say we'll talk more about Kelly Thompson in a minute.
Yeah.
With what we're getting into now, but pick up those books. Another book I read real quick that we probably won't be able to talk about is Jeff Lemire's JSA that released today.
I did not read it yet.
Dude, listen, as much as I like that John's run, this run is definitely hey, I'm kind of throwing everything out the window to do my own thing, and so far his own thing is just as good as John's run. So
that is a high bar because I love John's runs of the JSA a lot. So
John's run was entirely a love letter to the JSA, and this run is entirely a love letter to something new. You know what I mean? And I think that's why I fuck with it so much, because I can tell Lemire has an idea and a vision for where the JSA are going to go in the future. And it makes me excited to see him basically be like, I respect Jeff John's run, but I'm throwing everything out because I have a vision for where they're supposed to go. And I'm like, that's cool as hell. I'm on board with that. So yeah, so I guess we'll move on to the other main event.
Yeah. Well, first, before we do that, real quick, I just wanted to give thoughts on some news that like came out a few weeks ago during New York Comic Con, and it got me really excited. And it's pertaining. That's why I mentioned Nationals by the Sea, because people that aren't aware, or people that didn't see who are subscribed, didn't see my post about it. But they kind of revealed that that Vertigo, which was the imprint that DC killed, the iconic creator-owned imprint that DC killed, to replace with DC Black Label, is now making a return. And I think it's really important because they kind of mentioned in the press release that not only is like Vertigo coming back, but it's also going to be coming back alongside with Black Label. Black Label isn't going anywhere. It's just that like Black Label is going to be focusing on more like the mature DC related stories involving DC characters, but Vertigo is going to be known for what it's been known for since its inception, is more so the creator-owned, getting back into the creator-owned business stuff. So if artists or writers who don't want to work for DC but don't want to leave their contracts to go work for Boom or Dark Horse or Image, they can go right to Vertigo and do a story and not have to have that conflict. Yeah, Seamus, what are your thoughts, man? What are your thoughts on Vertigo coming back? And the thing is, all of the books that are currently creator-owned, like Nationals by the Sea, are going to be relaunched with the Vertigo logo, as well as classic Vertigo titles being reprinted under Vertigo. So I think it's exciting, man. I'm really hyped for it.
I'm glad it's back. I thought it was such an integral part to DC's publishing line that it was very sad to see that go and swept into Black Label, because Black Label feels like there's really... Black Label's always felt stupid to me, because you already had Elseworlds, you already had Vertigo, and now you're just mushing them together in not even an entire publishing line, just in a book label. You know what I mean? There was never any coherence. there was never any separation, really. It literally was, hey, these are just going to be Elseworlds books that are going to be slightly more mature, so we're doing this entire marketing thing. Instead of calling them Elseworlds, they'll be Black Label. And it's like...
It was weird.
It felt weird. It felt childish, and it especially felt stupid that they had to kill Vertigo for it. Because it's like... so I'm very glad to see it back. I fucking love this logo. I'm glad we're getting reprints of old Vertigo
logo,
books.
dude. It's so awesome.
So yeah, this is overall a win for me because I fucking love Vertigo. So we're gonna get so many original Hellblazer volumes reprinted now,
dude. Yes, I also really
even though I already own all of them.
That's funny. I really hope that also we're gonna be getting some cool original stories, but I also do want to see Hellblazer make a return officially under the Vertigo banner, or Sandman as well. That would be really cool. Or still the Sandman universe on my ad. I'm excited, and man, Vertigo's back, baby. So now we can cover Vertigo books.
Yeah.
on the channel. But yeah, that's pretty much it on that, bro. I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, do a little celebratory dance real quick.
Exactly. Yeah, do a little that, But yeah, so yeah, what Seamus said before. Yeah, now we're gonna get into some of the DC, the other big DC books that are out right now, but mostly just the new universe that is out right now.
And then we're gonna do a review of the last 10 One Piece chapters that I've just dropped.
Yeah, listen, man, you got another channel for that. Know what I mean? So
I think one day I should just force you to read One Piece on this book on this channel as
I got so much other stuff to read, bro.
You gotta get literate, Mikey. You gotta read that shit.
But people, for those who don't know, at the same time, while the Ultimate Universe is happening on Marvel, DC is starting up their own separate Elseworlds kind of universe as well, known as the Absolute Universe. And yeah, we're just gonna be talking about the 3 release titles to start this universe off, which are of course Absolute Batman, Absolute Wonder Woman, and Absolute Superman. And the thing is, don't know, they're pretty much explain.
Unironically, I said unironically, Ultimate Batman sounds like a sick fucking title.
I know, right?
Honestly, if you showed me a book that was called Ultimate Batman, I'd be like, holy fuck.
Right. The Ultimate Batman. And the thing is, right, for people that don't know, there was an all-in special that came out, I believe it was in October, early October. September, sorry. Where they explain how this universe was created and basically involved Darkseid and all this other and all that crazy stuff.
Yeah, Darkseid basically created a world in his own image he recreated the fucking wish machine from Final Crisis and made it evil. and then fed it his own hand, and then was like, anyway, wish machine, am I capable of creating? And the wish machine was like, you're dumb as bricks, no. So then Darkseid was like, okay, I'll take the Spectre, bond with the Spectre, and then use that power to create my own world on that fucking Elseworld that was created at the end of Dark Knight's Metal, that empty one. And then so that's where the Absolute Universe basically was born out of, was Darkseid creating his own universe in his own vision with the fundamental changes that ensure more hardship and strife exist.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, right, what at the end of that issue, it involves Booster Gold getting trapped in the Absolute Universe, and literally it's he's in a shithole now. Even though when you read these separate other titles, it doesn't seem very shitty. It's just
it's interesting because I think that the fundamental changes to these characters aren't necessarily meant to make the world more shitty, but perhaps to inflict more pain on these characters at maybe even a later point. Because, I mean, we'll get into it later, but the changes made still create these characters and make them close to the main universe versions, but they still have fundamental differences, and they still have an equal amount, if not more, hardships they experience. I know we already talked about Absolute Batman.
Yeah. With Scott
and
Snyder's return back to like a Batman title.
Which like as much as I bitched about that, because I love Scott, but like this is like his 70th Batman book, and I was just like, all right, I don't know what else he could do. And then I read that first issue, and I was like, all right.
Yeah,
this guy.
I thought it was cool. Like, you know,
I was like, I don't know why I doubted Scott. He fucking wrote the shit out of that first issue. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and like the changes made to Bruce don't necessarily make him any less Batman, but they definitely make his life harder. You know,
exactly.
And I think that's like the point of this universe, is that it doesn't necessarily make them not their characters. It just makes their lives infinitely more harder, and then we get to see how they still succeed at living up to their morals and their characters from the main universe through those hardships. And I think that's why this universe works, because it's so unabashedly a copy of the Ultimate Universe, despite the fact that it was kind of in development before the Ultimate Universe. But I think both existing at the same time provide two different lines of comics that are both, like the Ultimate Universe, speaking to a lot of the issues that we are having today. And I think that's why I'm grateful for both. I don't give a shit if they were both created in the same way through an evil character basically creating his own dark universe. That's that's a sick idea that they haven't really done. And so to do it two times in two different publishing lines is like fine. Like, cool.
Yeah, like, well, you can make an excuse for it.
Yeah, like I don't care. The Maker did a reference to his like first arc where he created like the Children of Tomorrow City, where he had time accelerate, and then Darkseid hit one of his most famous like arcs by recreating the Wish Machine and cutting his hand off. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I don't care if you're doing literally the same thing on both sides, because it's cool. It's cool as hell, and it works. So, this universe is though different than the Ultimate Universe in that like these characters are different, but they are supposed to be darker. Whereas the other universe is just more of like the world itself is darker, but these heroes are still them. You know,
they're still them. Yeah, they're still like, you know, hope.
Whereas,
there's still hope within these heroes.
And not to say that there isn't hope with the absolute characters. It's just that them as a whole are much darker, and not in like a Scott Snyder dark way. It's just more, or I mean, a Zack Snyder dark way. It's more of just like these characters are enduring more hardship, and they're struggling more to get to where they need to be as heroes. So like, and I really like what Jason Aaron was saying with Absolute Superman, where he was like, this is a Superman where hope is the underdog. And I think that's a really good summation of the Absolute line.
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you want to go through Absolute Batman again, or if you just want to.
I'll say my 2 cents. I enjoyed Absolute Batman a bit. I do like the fact, it pretty much isn't really that like, you know, anything new in terms of Batman, besides like obviously the change within his origin and like, you know, his motivator for being Batman it's slightly different. Honestly, it's a bit more. The situation's a bit more realistic because, you know, Bruce Wayne isn't rich in this universe. He doesn't have Wayne Manor, doesn't have Alfred. But I do like the fact that, you know, with his obviously we know that Batman's motivations was through his parents' deaths in the main universe, but the fact that they decided to, you know, have not only Thomas be the one that dies in this one, but the fact that it was Thomas saving Bruce on a school trip with his friends that he was chaperoning, which is a bit more why I thought like it hit more home to like, you know, the realistic aspect of this version of Batman, because I was watching an interview where not interview, but I was watching Sal explain on Comic Pop on Elseworlds Exchange how like when Scott told Sal and Benny his idea for what he wanted to do involving Bruce's trauma in this, he wanted to be a school shooting instead.
Yeah.
But he thought that would, but Benny and Sal urged Scott to be like, hey, like that it could, if you don't pull it off well, it could end badly. So like he knew that like Scott would figure it out a more palatable way to do it. So have it be like a zoo trip, like a field trip. That was great, and the fact that like it's him see like just like the main universe, seeing Thomas kind of be a hero for an instance, to like I thought was really really cool, and
Yeah.
that's why Bruce would be Batman again in this universe. But yeah, no, Bruce.
Yeah,
Just,
and
yeah,
I do think that what the subtle change from it being a direct school shooting to being a shooting that happens on a school trip is such a minute change that seems like it wouldn't change a lot, but the more you think about it, the more it feeds into maybe a more easier to understand Batman, because I think if you have his origin based off a school shooting, that is less of like an easy fundamental thing that Batman can fight against, because if you just look at the a lot of the reasoning for school shooting and stuff like that, they are a lot more fueled by societal issues.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's an adult that is like shooting at a zoo, then you could paint that as just like crime. You know what I mean? Crime took Thomas Wayne. Whereas if Thomas Wayne died in a school shooting, you'd be like, it wasn't. You know what I mean? It's hard to call that. It's a lot harder to be like, Batman is fighting crime as in like he's trying to get kids better access to like mental health and like strict gun access. Whereas like if it's an adult shooting at a school, then it's like, oh cool, Batman can punch that guy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think that fundamental change kind of changes the vibe of the run more towards like, this is still like comic booky. You know what I mean? We're not going to get too deep into Batman actually trying to get in the nitty gritty of solving societal issues like gun control and like, mental health access. We might later, but I think it's just a good start to be like, because I think just the Joe Chill origin is so flawless of like, we don't really know who did it. It wasn't really a guy who was important. It was just crime in general that took Bruce Wayne's parents from him. And that's why his crusade started. And I think it keeps in that vibe. So I do like the subtle change they did.
And the fact that with that subtle change, it's like, what I thought was really interesting was the fact that, like, I think Sal also made a good point on his show where he was like, like Batman in the main reality is like, listen, like Gotham is like, Gotham is a problem and is an issue, and I have to be the one to solve it. But like, because this Bruce Wayne version of Bruce Wayne was born and raised in Gotham, not like in a Wayne Manor, just like outside of Gotham. And like all of his friends, he's like, I grew up here. All my friends are here. Like my mom is here, and like instilled my values and helped raise me after my dad's death. Is like, I don't think that Gotham is like a cesspit. Like there are good people here. It's just that it's just the crime and everything is the issue. Like
I think, as much as I agree with that, I think that is an issue that more readily plagues lesser writers in their runs with Batman. Because I think that in good Batman runs, he should care for the city. You know what I mean? And I think that while this change is interesting for Batman, I think as a whole, part of my issue with it is that it does make him so much like other characters. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's interesting to see Batman specifically be put in this environment. And I think that it's something that would only work with Batman purely because his origin is so entrenched in the cultural consciousness that changing it in this little way, despite it being very cliche for other superheroes, is not for Batman because we've never seen him in this situation. But like, there's just that simple change. He just instantly becomes like Daredevil or Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Where it's like, no, he lives here. That's why he cares. Where it was interesting before because he was a rich guy who, by all accounts, shouldn't care. But because Bruce is such a good person at heart, he does give a shit. And he does want the city to change for the better because he loves it. And it is his home, despite him being a rich kid from miles out in a mansion.
Yeah.
So I think that change is something that can only be pulled off by someone like Scott Snyder, who has a deep understanding of the character. and is able to expertly change that in a way that still feels interesting for Batman. And I think because I've reread it since we first did our first discussion on it, and I think I like it more as I reread it because I'm seeing more of like the little expert ways that Scott is able to take an idea that might be very cliche for other heroes, but makes it interesting for this version of Batman.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is, like, and outside of that as well, I think the design of this Batman's really cool. I like the use of like this version of the cape. I like the weapons. I like the whole like symbols of fucking axe. It's so dope. It's like the action in this book is so fun.
You know what's so funny? So Darkseid has an axe, Batman has an axe, and from the I know we keep shouting our boy out, but Sal from Comic Pop just did an interview that I listened to with Kelly Thompson, and she wanted Wonder Woman to have a God of War axe, but Zack Snyder already called dibs on the axe, so she was like, "Guess I have to go Final Fantasy Buster Sword."
Yeah, Buster Sword. Yeah.
I was like, "Fuck it! Why doesn't Superman have an axe?" Just give everyone an axe and have them fight with axes at the end of this thing.
Man. Everyone in the Absolute Universe has to have an axe. Like, let's go.
Yeah, and then you get a cool event called Axe Salute.
You know, it's Axis.
Not sixes.
6-6. But yeah, dude, it's just I'm digging it so far. Also, stuff with Alfred. This version of Alfred is also really interesting as well.
I like it because they take like the boring regular like. Actually, he was a soldier from Earth 1, and are like, no, he wasn't a soldier. He was like super spy.
James Bond.
He wasn't even like James Bond. He was like super tech James Bond. Like this dude is like a fucking like crazy person. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, they're taking like the super spy like addition to Alfred's mythos and then turning it up to like 14.
Yeah, man. But I will say, even though I did enjoy the issue, I did not like the epilogue that Snyder wrote at the end because for people that haven't read it yet, it involves a character, a villain that I'm like very sick of seeing now at this point, and I'm just like,
I think, I know on the reread it didn't get any better for me. I think, no offense to Scott, I'm sure he's going to do a good job with this. I just think I need a moratorium on anyone using Joker for the next 5 years and anything. Let him go away. Give him a break.
Yeah,
I'm just sick of him, like, because I think the oversaturation makes it so that it's like, what new thing could you do that I haven't seen in the last 8 years that 80 other people have done? And at this point, the real answer is nothing. I think we should have stopped when the Batman Who Laughs was created by Scott Snyder. I think that was the last. That was like, I was like, okay, that's it. This is the last one. Let's stop.
Yeah, man.
And this new one where it's like, oh, he doesn't laugh. It's like, Scott, I've seen that before.
And he's rich while Bruce Wayne's poor. Like,
yeah. And it's like, dude, fucking Chip Zdarsky did this 8 months ago.
Yeah.
He did this. He had a whole arc where Batman went to an alternate universe where the Joker didn't laugh and he was rich. And it's like, I'm okay if you guys are going to try to ape off Marvel's Ultimate Universe, but cannibalizing your own DC work, it's like, oh, guys, you gotta communicate a little bit. So it's just like, all right, Chip Zdarsky's Joker thing that was like the Deadpool and Wolverine for me, or that was like, okay, I think this is the last time I'm going to find this entertaining, and the next time I see something like this, I'm going to be really mad.
Yeah.
Because like that whole like multi-universe arc about Batman always having a Joker and all that, I was like, okay, this feels like a story arc that's meant to be like, let's have the Joker go away for a while, and I hope it sticks. But then it instantly didn't, because Scott was like, hey, I'm doing Joker too. And it's so funny because I feel like they do a similar tease in Absolute Superman that I feel worked way better.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that later. But yes, overall, Absolute Batman was a good start. I think I liked it more on the reread. I still have some issues with it. It's probably the book out of the 3 that I had the most issues with. But even then, I still think it's a really good start. And Nick Dragotta's art's fucking insane.
Again, like I've only seen Nick Dragotta's art within East and West. I've never seen him do superhero stuff. So to see him do Batman, this version of Batman, can nail it is crazy.
It's great. It's fucking great. It's great. I have it's some of my favorite art in a comic book going right now. So.
But yeah, man, Absolute Wonder Woman, which was the second book that dropped, which came out like 2 weeks ago.
Like a week or 2 ago.
Yeah, man. Written by Kelly Thompson. The artist name escapes me right now, but we'll probably mention it we'll talk about it. This book is awesome. Straight up, this book is dope. Like it's this book, like Birds of Prey, The Cull. This is cementing Kelly Thompson into being like one of my favorite writers. Also like her Hawkeye run as well.
It's art by Hayden Sherman.
Hayden Sherman. All right, great.
I love the art in this book too.
The art in the book is great. This kind of like I feel like kind of Tom's Kelly was taking kind of like notes from like Danny Warren Johnson with Wonder Woman Dead Earth and like kind of like making a fucking like metal version of Wonder Woman.
When I was reading this, listen, I'm a feminist, okay? I'm a Wonder Woman fan. I like women.
I like women.
Recently I reread because listen, we'll get to this at our end of the year recap in a couple months. But I'm now a Tom King hater officially.
What a turn, right? What a turn! I know. Last year.
It's crazy how 1 year can have that much of an effect, but it did. And we'll talk about it in a couple months when we do best and worst. But his Wonder Woman run made me want to go back and reread actual Wonder Woman runs. And going back and rereading those, I reread George Perez, Greg Rucka, and this feels like it fits very nicely alongside those runs as like greatest Wonder Woman runs of all time. Just from the way this starts. I think
it's dope.
It's the decision. So like getting into it, the decision, the big change for Wonder Woman, like, you know, how Batman grew up in Crime Alley alongside all his villains. He's poor. The big change for Wonder Woman is that the Amazons are wiped out by the gods. And Apollo.
I don't think they're murdered. They're like banished, I think.
Yeah, they're wiped out. They're gone.
They're gone. There's no Amazons.
And Apollo takes baby Diana and appears in hell. And the only other denizen of hell currently was Cersei. And he basically hands her the baby and is like, they don't want to banish and kill this baby. So you're going to have to take care of her because she's imprisoned here because she's the last of the Amazons. So she's going to be imprisoned here as like a symbol of the Amazons race being imprisoned here. And Cersei's like, what do you want me to do with it? And Apollo's like, nothing if you want. She's imprisoned here. So if she dies, she dies. And so then Apollo's like, oh, also you can't say Amazon anymore.
Yeah, that's bad.
And she's like, wait, really? And then she tries to say it, and it's just a scribble in a word bubble. And I was like, that's funny.
That's hilarious.
And then, so Cersei at first is like, all right, it'll die soon. There are a bunch of animals on here. I'm sure one of them will get to her.
And then, a snake, like baby Diana refuses to die.
And then a snake slowly slithers up to Diana in her cradle. And instantly I was like, oh my fucking God, they're doing Hercules.
Yep.
And the snake tries to kill Diana, and Diana grabs it by the neck, and instantly Cersei's like, oh, she's a fighter. And so then Cersei slowly starts to raise Diana. And there's so many good moments, like the gecko
scene was great.
Yeah, like the devil gecko breathing fire on her, and baby Diana grabs the gecko and wags her finger and is like, no, and then gives it a kiss and lets it go on its way. And I was like, oh my God, that is like the perfect summation of Wonder Woman. And so Cersei slowly starts raising Diana in their little witch hovel in hell. on Hell Island, and she slowly learns to love Diana as her own like daughter, and it's a very sweet dynamic that Cersei like, and it's so interesting that, I mean, again, shout now, Sal and Tiffany. Tiffany was talking about how it's really beautiful to see their witch's hovel slowly become like a normal home, getting floorboards, getting beds, and you can tell through the art, through Hayden Sherman's art and paneling, you can see the love blossom between Cersei and her now daughter Diana, and it slowly coalesces in Diana asking Cersei what she is and being scared of what she is, and Cersei basically being like, no, you have to be proud in who you are. Like, no, like, even though the gods have banished your people and banished your people's name from being recognized in history, you know your people's name and you know what you are. And she's like, so say it. And then Diana is one of the only people who's able to say Amazon, and she yells it. And I was like, fuck, dude.
And yeah, like pretty much her lesson is like always like, you know, accept and embrace who she is. I think it's amazing. Yes.
And it hit also, like crack. That shot of Wonder Woman yelling Amazon, I was like, fuck yeah, dude.
Not only embrace who she is, but also embrace like who she's become through raising her. Like I thought it was so good, dude.
And it was such a good summation of like, I am an Amazon. This is who Amazons are, even though it might not have who they have been when they banished. Since I am an Amazon and this is who I am, this is who the Amazonians are. And it's a very beautiful summation of like, the Amazonians are whoever you are because you are an Amazonian, and it's just a very nice and very slick theme and summation of who Wonder Woman is as a character.
It was
and so then Wonder Woman decides to leave hell, and she just fucking leaves, and
with her skeleton Pegasus.
Yeah, with her Pegasus, and she arrives on Earth in Gateway City, which is a little nod to the George Perez run, which I was like, yes, sir. The Greg Rucka run too, and she starts defending humanity from this like demonic threat that's coming in, and she's trying to save as many people as she can. And her first interaction with humans is with the
military,
with a military guy, and I was like, "Yep, Steve Trevor type beat."
I want to say this is real quick, bro. I think this is one of the most badass versions of Wonder Woman I've ever seen in my entire life. I think the design is. I think this is one of the dopest designs for a female character I've ever seen, because it's just like the intricacies, like the fact that it's still like. It's still Wonder Woman-esque, so you know that you still can like know it's the character, but like the red, the silk, like it reminds me a lot of like the New 52 version of Wonder Woman, but like done a little better.
Yes, exactly. Like, and it's like the design of her with the red and the dark black silver is like like that, like the tattoos, like the Buster sword, like it's just like it like whoever what's his name the artist on this book Hayden Sherman.
Yeah, Hayden Sherman, like his design for this is just amazing. I love it a lot. The red lasso that was revealed at the end is just even sicker.
And the demons like asking Wonder Woman who she is, and she has that moment where she like bursts out with that dark red lasso, and she's like, I am Princess Diana, daughter of Cersei, last of the Amazons, wicked witch of the Hell Isle. And I was like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah, Princess of Hell. I was like,
oh my god, Princess of Hell.
Oh man, it's sick as
and she's got this giant fucking sword going, I am Princess of Hell, slicing this dude in half. I was like, this hits like crack cocaine, dude.
It's so hard. And it's just like, bro, like also like what was I gonna say? I also do like the fact that this is a Wonder Woman. Like I've never really seen this before. Yeah, obviously we know that like the main universe Wonder Woman, she's a really excellent fighter, but also she's a witch as well. So she's using magic and like casting spells, and it's like it's so sick, dude. I was like, Kelly Thompson, like you nailed this shit. And I remember watching an interview of hers from another comic book YouTuber where she like literally like couldn't figure out what to change with Wonder Woman to like make her stand out from like, you know, the absolute universe. And this was like her last resort. And like she said, if this didn't work, like she would have been like fucking like she would have left the project. And I'm so happy that like she was just like, I'm just gonna make Wonder Woman a witch that was raised in hell. Done. And that's it. And it works. And it works along with the artwork, works so well. And this, I think this, me personally, like Wonder Woman's like, this is my favorite absolute book so far. Like I love this book a lot. And this kind of, again, like from what I've read from Kelly Thompson in the past like year alone, I think she's become one of my favorite writers right now. I'm loving Kelly Thompson right now.
She's so fucking good, dude. I want
her on the show. I want her on the show. I'm gonna try to get her on.
If she gets on the show, I'm literally just gonna be here crying and being like, I love your shit. Oh, it's so good. But yeah, I love this. As you can tell, I love this more than Absolute Batman.
Yeah. I also love it more than Absolute Batman. I think not to try to make this sound like I'm discounting Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman's work, but I think it's just purely because we haven't gotten a good Wonder Woman run in a while, like a really good one. And it's so depressing that this character who is so integral to DC, so important to culture as a whole, just is regularly given the shaft when it comes to these kinds of runs, by giving writers who obviously have no understanding of the character and don't even give a shit about the character in general. You know what I mean? Like, Greg Rucka and George Perez are literally like the only two guys who have ever gotten Wonder Woman, and it sucks that in her entire period, it's like. I would also say Daniel Warren Johnson, because Dead Earth was also like a really good Wonder Woman story. You know?
I love Daniel Warren Johnson, and that's an outlier for me personally, purely because it is like a Black Label book that is very radically different. True. And it is a badass Wonder Woman story, but I'm more talking about main universe runs that directly understand the character in a way that like Batman and Superman have gotten regularly, you know? Yeah. Like Daniel Warren Johnson is a cool run and he gets the character, but like there's Greg Rucka and George Perez have been the only ones to have been able to cut to the core of the character and really give Wonder Woman the flowers that she deserves for being such an integral character, you know? And I think that's why it's this run is hit so hard for me, because it's the realization of reading a run that is going to be cemented as integral to this character. That also, despite changing so much to the origin, is going to be something that is looked upon as like, this is fucking Wonder Woman, man.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm just really excited to see where this goes. I know she already mentioned Steve Trevor and Cheetah showing up like imminently in the next few issues, so I'm excited for that.
They're coming soon.
Yeah, so overall, this might be my favorite. I'm going to decide over the course of talking about Absolute Superman, but Absolute Wonder Woman just got me jazzed up, dude. Got me fucking.
Dude, yeah, no, I agree. I'm like ready for that next issue like ASAP, because I love this. I loved it, dude. I thought it was so good and it was so fun. And it was,
dude, like my three favorite books right now are literally.
Uh-oh. Did we lose you? You alive? Damn. Like we lost him. But yeah, people, so just to move on real quick, just to get Absolute Superman came out this week, and literally not this week, literally today. And just to start off, like I loved it. I because this was the book that was again written by Jason Aaron, and I did not know what it was about. Clearly, like they kept this one under wraps for the most part, like because we knew a hint of, when through the promotion that Batman was poor and what was poor, and Diana, Princess of Hell, but Superman they didn't really tell us anything about, and I really was curious to see what they're gonna change. And as it with me personally, I'm not much of a Superman guy. I think he's I think he's all right. I don't really gravitate more toward the Superman character to me, but I was very curious to see what changes they would make that would make it interesting. And my God, they made some dope ass changes. They pretty much go in terms of what I really do like about Superman, which is like, you know, the stuff involving Krypton, like, you know, especially the classism of Krypton. And I really thought it was really interesting the fact that, yeah, this version of Superman is, you know, well, first off, this version of Superman arrives to Earth as an adult rather than as a child, as a baby. And he's not raised by the Kents at all. But what is really cool about this, about they go through the backstory of this version of Krypton, how what we know from Superman is that, you know, the iconic symbol is the crest of his family, the L house, and each crest that a Kryptonian wears is representative of the house they come from. And what they did with this one was the fact that they kind of go through this various types of classes that are in this version of Krypton, which are like the science classes, the scientist class, which is like the highest pinnacle class you can be in, and it's not something you're born into. You actually have to, like, you know, work to achieve this level of status. And they kind of have like a sun symbol, while the lowest tier class, which is the workers class, are pretty much, you know, identified as with the iconic Superman symbol, are the workers class, and that is where Jor-El, Lara-El, Lana L comes from. And I thought that was really interesting, but also juxtaposing. Oh, I think we got him back. Yo, Seamus, we good?
Absolute Batman is my favorite book of all time, and Scott Snyder is the greatest writer to ever live, and he will lead DC into the future.
You're killing me, bro. You're killing me.
I can't say anymore until he leaves.
Bro, I'm just going through Absolute Superman real quick. You want to give me your thoughts, bro? Give me your thoughts on Absolute Superman. I feel like you have more to say than I do on it, but I didn't. Jason
Aaron's back, baby. I hated his Avengers run for like 8 years.
Oh, I thought it was trash.
Oh, dude, it was so depressing after his fucking great Thor run and everything, and even his like fucking Venom stuff. It just sucked, and I was like, I felt bad because I knew Jason Aaron is a great writer, and he just was like. He was trying to do that thing where you just create the most batshit insane ideas and hope it hits, but it would never hit, and it always was like, okay, dude, let's move on. Let's have some actual like character arcs in this. But this was Superman, motherfucker. So yeah, I this was another a Wednesday morning read I read this morning, and this was the last one I read. This was the last one I read, and this like I said, this and Ultimate Wonder or Absolute Wonder Woman are up there for me because they just like. This was another book that fundamentally understood the character, and the only changes they made were changes that made hope harder to exist in the world. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, exactly. And I think that's exactly what I like about Absolute Superman the most, because it's just like a book that. It completely recognizes Superman's roots, makes it harder for Superman to exist, yet still has him exist in this world. Mm-hmm. So, like, the whole backstory they were doing with Krypton and how, you know, the hierarchy they had, the social hierarchy they had, and how Bruce's parents, Cal's parents were exiled for trying to speak out against the ruling science class because they both believed that the ruling science class didn't actually care, and they both were like, hey, we need more money put towards environmental protections and interstellar travel. And the ruling science class were like, fuck both the L's, they're out of here. Mm-hmm. And so then they started working as the lowest working class of Krypton society, and that's what this Superman's S is the crest of the working class of Krypton, which I was like, fuck yes. It's like fuck Zack Snyder's like, it means hope. Like having Superman's crest be, no, this crest is me proudly wearing the crest of my working class family, is like the most Superman shit, dude.
Yeah, and it's like I love before when you cut out, I was saying that like that's what I loved about this issue a lot, was the fact that like, because what I love the whole idea of I mean even like you know like like Zack Snyder touched on it in his version of the character, and also like the Krypton show did it a lot, which I love. Like just the classism in Krypton is so interesting to me, and the fact that like the higher tier ones, this is their symbol, and then like the bottom tier ones is like the L symbol. I thought was like, yes, I'm like that's so interesting, you know.
Yeah,
like,
I love
the people with the most hope are the ones that are at the bottom of the gutter. Nah, I mean,
I love how they make Krypton's hierarchy so primitive that it feels like something that would exist in like the 1600s in our world or something. You know what I mean? Like it's something that's so primitive and so petty and so unjust that it's so much more interesting to happen to this extremely advanced scientific society to basically regress to the point of relying on like the caste system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's a beautiful aspect of Superman's character to basically have him live through the end of one society as it collapses, and then have to come to ours and basically see the beginnings of that happen, and that's like the drive for him to try to do good in the world, because like as they explain, as they even say in the book, that one world may have ended, and one world may be ending, but it does not mean that it's over, and it doesn't mean that it doesn't still have hope.
Exactly.
And that's what I think I love most about this book.
I thought that Superman helping like pretty much like the working miners in Brazil, like the working class, I thought was really dope. What are your thoughts on the Peacemakers, bro? What's it called? Hello?
Just basically, hello?
Oh, we go. Okay, we're good. Okay.
Am I there?
Yeah, you're there. You're alive.
All right. I was saying. I like how the Peacemakers are basically a for-hire police force for corporations. Like that's just such a good twist to be like, yeah, they're just basically basically a PMC. They're pieces of shit. They're fuckers. I'm like, yo, that's great.
It's a good play on the name because, like, obviously we know Peacemaker in the main universe would be like, yeah, like he's a villain that pretty much is about like, you know, getting peace at all costs. But in this universe, the Peacemakers in this one are just like, no, we like to keep the peace in our working camps because we need peace in order for these motherfuckers to dig. You know?
Yeah. And I like how I don't know if this was intentional or not, but for me, so far it feels like each book is tackling a different troubled aspect of our society, where it feels like Absolute Batman is tackling the very troubled and corrupt political aspect of our society, and Wonder Woman seems to be tackling the very troubled cultural aspect of our society, and it seems like Superman will be primarily focused on like the economic troubles of our society, and that working class people are regularly exploited, looked down upon, treated poorly by the upper class, and that Superman is a hero that works for the working class people to protect them and to basically save them from the horrific treatment of the upper class. And I think that is at its core who Superman has always been. He has been hope for the working class since he was created. And I think that's why this run is so far, this issue really worked for me, because Jason Aaron he does the odd thing where he changes a origin to be even more in line with the spirit of the character. You know, where you know, they reveal at the end of the book that Clark was it's fucking like he wasn't a baby. He was like 8 years old when Krypton fell. So it was like a Supergirl situation where like he saw Krypton fall. He was old enough to like know what was going on. Mm-hmm. And I like that cheeky little Krypto cameo at the end there.
Yeah, that was nice.
I was like, yep. But yeah, like I said, I think it's such an interesting story to have Superman directly be fighting corporations in favor of the working class, and to be wearing a working class symbol as like a point of pride for him, that he's wearing the symbol of the caste that his family belonged to proudly. Mm-hmm. It's all just in line with who Superman is as a character, and I think yeah, like that's why this works so well for me.
And I also really thought the way his powers and his suit worked were really cool. The fact that his suit's kind of like a containment suit to keep make sure his powers are under control. And the suit has his own AI that he talks to. That was really cool.
I'm interested to see who that AI is going to be revealed to be, if it is going to be Jor-El.
Yeah,
like in the Fortress of Solitude.
That would be.
Or if it's going to be his mom, and they're going to do a cool little switch where like he mostly talks to his mom now. But
but yeah, man, I thought Superman was really good.
I called this before it even dropped, but I was like, they're going to make Lois General Lane. And lo and behold, Lois is not general, but she is like a special agent that captures Superman. I like the Brainiac tease. I'm a sucker for Brainiac. I feel like Brainiac being teased is much different than Joker being teased, purely because you don't see Brainiac as often as Joker, so it's like, all right. And I like how they're not doing an instant Lex Luthor tease, because I know it would be so easy to be like, oh, he's fighting a corporation. Of course, Lex Luthor's going to own the corporation. And instead, they're like, he's fighting a corporation, and the guy who's leading the R&D development is fucking Brainiac in his little chair. And it's like, all right, we'll build, because I know they're going to build a Lex Luthor being. You know what I think it might be? It's called Lazarus Corp. So they might just be doing a thing where like Lex Luthor is Ra's al Ghul in this universe. And Lex Luthor took over the League of Assassins and then just made it a corporation called Lazarus Corp that now runs like all of the criminal that now basically legally through money runs all of the illegal operations that the League of Assassins used to run, but just so now that he has so much money, it's just technically considered legal now because no one can go after him. I think that would be a very interesting twist. And to have Brainiac basically work under him as his R&D development dude would be like silly as hell. But yeah, I like even in Brainiac's room, he's got fucking bottled cities already, and I'm like, dude, is there going to be any universe where you're not just trying to bottle cities? You fucking
exactly. No, that's a universal trait with all Brainiacs.
I know, it's so funny, but
yeah,
I think this is about equal with Absolute Wonder Woman for me.
Okay, fair. I like it. I like this one more than Absolute Batman, but I think Wonder Woman is better than this in my opinion. I just like it more. But yeah,
that's fair. Yeah.
The Absolute Universe. It is good so far.
It's great. Don't get it. I was gonna say, don't get it wrong. All these books were incredible. They're some of the best coming out right now. It's just grading them up against each other. I think Batman is the weakest of the three, but again, it's basically like me saying, yeah, I think Kobe Bryant's the weakest out of MJ and LeBron. It's like, okay, that's still fucking Kobe Bryant. Like that's
Kobe Bryant, but yeah, I so far I'm digging it, but granted, like we're only on the first issue, so this could still plummet at any time.
These are all strong as hell first issues, and they all instantly understand the character. Like they hold your hand and basically go, we understand the cores of these characters, and here's how they will change and where they will go through those changes. And I think that's why these are all super successful first issues for me.
Yeah. But moral of the story is, I want Kelly Thompson on the show. I will be dedicated to getting her on the show because I want to discuss to her about how much I love her writing now.
Hell yeah, brother.
But yeah, bro. So yeah, we're gonna move on to the next last three topics. So we gotta rush through those because it's almost 12. But yeah, people, just real quick. So what we're gonna be doing next is we're doing just some really quick reviews of some things that have come out recently. So what thing is one of the things I've seen but Seamus hasn't, and one of the things Seamus has seen and I haven't. So we're just giving our overall thoughts of kind of like a lead into what our thoughts are on both of these projects real quick. But the first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to be doing I'll be doing my review real quick of the latest MCU Disney Plus television series, Agatha All Along. Yes, I watched this show. And it's funny because I said I was never gonna watch this show when it was announced. Yeah, but this show has come out over the past several weeks. It's pretty much it's pretty much the Agatha Harkness show led by Kathryn Hahn with Joe Locke, who is the mysterious teen character, as well as Aubrey Plaza, who is also in a mystery role as well. But yeah, this is pretty much showcasing exploring the more witch magical side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And Seamus, here's the thing with me, right? I was gonna wait until all the episodes were out and then just binge them all. That was my original plan when I was like, oh, I'll watch the show, why not? But then like episode 5 came out and I saw all these like thumbnails of what was going on. I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'll just binge all 5 of the episodes and then just watch it the last couple episodes on time. And to my surprise, this show was good. I enjoyed it. I think it's like I really enjoyed it. I thought this was a good step in the right direction, because what has been a problem with a lot of the MCU Disney Plus shows from its start is that ever since like after WandaVision and like Falcon Winter Soldier, and I guess literally like a lot of the shows haven't really like done the traditional show structure where it's like a showrunner who is like has a vision and is giving insight and a direction for like all the other things going forward in terms of like the writing, in terms of the designs, in terms of the production. They just kind of were just like treating all the shows like little mini movies. So there was no showrunner. It was just Kevin Feige just like giving them decisions, I guess, and then they just ran with it. But yeah, with this show, Jack Schaefer is pretty much the showrunner of the series and is the one giving the direction the entire time, which I thought was a great idea. And again, it's going to more of the traditional show format. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, pretty much, right? And I thought this show was good. I thought Kathryn Hahn did a really good job, not only reminding us constantly that Agatha isn't a good person at all from beginning to end. However, she gives us moments where we do feel for her situation and feel for her as a person, going through when we learn more about the character, which I think is great. Joe Locke I thought was a lot of fun in this. His character goes one way and then it goes another. That's all I'm really going to say. But I was genuinely impressed by it. I don't really want to spoil it for anybody, but it is. I thought it was. I'm really looking forward to seeing where this character goes going forward, because he is a very important character to like the next generation of the MCU as a whole. I know Seamus probably usually saw spoilers, so you know what I'm talking about. But
oh yeah, I ain't give a fuck, dude.
Yeah, he didn't care. But yeah, it is really, really dope. Actually, fuck it, I'll just say it. Why not? Yeah, no, his character pretty much gets revealed to be Wiccan. And the reveal.
It's not even like a shocker either, because everyone knew.
It isn't. Well, we all guessed it. We were all theorizing.
Yeah.
It, you know what I mean? But yeah, like his character was revealed to be Billy Maximoff, and it was really well done. I won't say really anything else on his integral into Agatha All Along, but I thought his character was great. I thought the way they handled the whole reincarnation thing from the comics was way more palatable and they made it way easier to understand than it was in the comic. I thought it was great. Aubrey Plaza, being kind of like the ex-girlfriend love interest of Agatha, and who was crazy, which was my favorite part of the show. I thought it was amazing that Aubrey Plaza's character was revealed to be none other than their version of Death. I was like, this is dope.
I thought it was dumb.
You thought it was dumb?
No, I like Aubrey Plaza. I like Aubrey Plaza as Death. I just always thought it'd be funny to reveal Morena Baccarin's character in Deadpool has always been Death the whole time. Okay, I just think that would have been a funnier thing to be like, yeah, no, she's not playing whatever that character that she is. She's playing like she is Death, who took the appearance of that girl. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
And she's married to Deadpool, which is why there were all those death shenanigans happening in Deadpool 2. And it also tracks because Deadpool has historically been associated, you know what I mean, marrying death and all that.
But listen, man.
And I just think, as much as I love Aubrey Plaza, I think she's much more suited. I think Marina Baccarin would be much more suited to play a character named Death, because Aubrey Plaza, I think, she's good, but I feel like she's just more of like a person who can play a much more like crazier character. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then the thing is too, like, and you haven't watched the show yet, but like I honestly think you'll change your mind, because I genuinely thought her version of Death, because this version of Death, they wanted to make it more associated with more witchcraft in this one, and like, but like kind of like a primordial like entity and force within witchcraft, and maybe just as a whole into the Marvel universe. I thought it was really fun. You'll see. She genuinely won me over, because when the reveal happened, I was like, holy shit. But then like in the back of my mind, I was like, how is this gonna work? And then they actually went into it more, and I was like, I like this. I think this is really cool. And but yeah, so there's that. The whole witches road aspect of it. It's fun. Like I won't go into the details, but like there are some really good twists and turns with this show that I was very impressed with.
I guessed the Witch's Road twist too in the second episode. To Musa. Really? I did. I literally was like, dude, come on. And I guessed it. And then when I saw it got revealed, I was like, so like, I guessed like 2 out of 3 of the big twists. 3 out of 3. Because I kind of was like, I think Aubrey Plaza's playing Death. And then I saw the leaks of her playing Death, and I was like, yep. So that's why I felt like I didn't need to watch it, because I just guessed everything, and I was like, well, now it's boring to me.
But yeah, man, I genuinely enjoyed it. This isn't like the best Marvel show ever, but like I thought it was a solid and fun iteration. Like I also didn't think like this is a good step in the right direction. Like have showrunners, have a direction, get an actual like well written story going on. Like I thought it was I thought it was good. So
here's my issue. I love Catherine Hahn. I love her. I like her as Agatha Harkness a lot. I think my issue is just that we're getting this shit instead of like actual Marvel characters who like actually deserve a series. And I think that is partly what gets me about a lot of the Scarlet Witch stuff, is that they rightfully know that the Scarlet Witch stuff sells to all of those fucking Scarlet Witch fanatics that are out there that only care about the MCU because of Scarlet Witch for some reason. Lord knows. But it's just insane to me that we are getting an Agatha Harkness show before a Ghost Rider show, before a Blade thing, before a Nova thing, before even like a fucking like I would have much preferred an Elsa Bloodstone show. She already fucking showed up. I would have preferred a spin-off with her. Yeah. Or like I don't know. I would have. You could do like something. Fucking try to make a deal with Sony. Do something with Spider-Woman. I don't fucking know. There are so many other characters who just don't have shit going on right now, and instead we're getting Agatha, like you know what I mean, and like Death and Wiccan, and it's like, dude, these are all characters that if I had to use in my Avengers book, I would just shoot myself and not write the book. You know what I mean? And I think that is my issue with it. Is just that. These are because they are taking up spots that could have been given to other shows that you're just like, I would have preferred another season of Miss Marvel than this. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I would have.
As much as I didn't like Miss Marvel, I would have preferred them giving Imran Khan another shot, because I fucking love her whenever she shows up, and I would have liked to see more of her. So like,
and the thing is too, right? It's like, even though I did enjoy this show, I don't want another season of it, because I'm just like, I think we're good. Like you can do like, if they do like a follow up, like something, so like they can.
They're gonna do like a Scarlet Witch movie that only like the stands are gonna care about, and then it's gonna end up making like no money, because you can't make Scarlet Witch carry an entire movie by herself and have it make money with the general public. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So.
And it's like, dude, if Captain Marvel can't make money, no way Scarlet Witch is gonna be able to make money. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
So she's probably going to be tied in again to some other, tacked on to some other like superhero movie that I'm going to be like, really? She's going to be tacked on to Blade now?
Yeah, that'd be wild. But
Dude,
yeah,
imagine the outrage if Blade has a white woman tacked on to the plot.
Dr. Umar would lose his mind.
Dude, I would do that just to see the reaction. That's why I can't be in charge of anything. I would do that just to see the Dr. Umar clip.
But yeah, overall, man, I give this it's like a 7 out of 10. It's solid. Like, I generally thought it was solid and it was fun. But again, I don't really want to see another one. I think I'm kind of good with this side of the Marvel universe for right now.
I'm just gonna go watch Agents of Shield, bro. I don't care.
But yeah, man, that's it for me. Bro, so you want to get into your review of Venom: The Last Dance real quick?
Oh yeah, dude.
All right, so Venom: Last Dance. All right, let us know.
I had a ball with this movie. Because it's stupid, like the other Venom movies, and it knows it's stupid, and it doesn't give a shit that you think it's stupid. It's like, yeah, it's fuck, and that's why I enjoyed it. Tom Hardy doing his thing is fucking like coked up Eddie Brock with Venom. They play way more. They play way more into the gay relationship Venom and Eddie have. And it's to the point where I genuinely, and I spoke to my friends about this who haven't really watched the other Venom movies. They thought they were gonna kiss at a point in this movie. They thought it was gonna happen. There's a scene where literally I was like, oh my god, it's happening, and then they don't do it, and I was a little disappointed. But overall, I think this movie is fun as fuck. But the first 45 minutes are some of the dreariest filmmaking I've ever seen. That I was like, holy shit. I was embarrassed to have brought my friends to watch it. But I was just like, this is so boring. You're wasting Ejiofor in a role where he's just a random soldier, and we're spending 30 minutes in this fucking random Area 51 lab that no one cares about with characters I don't care about.
Yeah, I was wondering who Ejiofor was going to be playing, but I guess
he plays no one. He just plays a soldier, and that's it. And it was just oh, cool, you're wasting him. Who cares? You're wasting half of the Ted Lasso cast as random fucking scientists in this Area 51 lab.
Hilarious.
They completely write off Toxin in this. Stephen Graham just played. Yeah, he just plays he just does. I don't care. I don't really care too much. He's in it for 2 seconds, and he basically does his best Blair Witch impression to try to be summoning Null by being he is coming, and you're just all right, whatever. But then the parts where it cuts back to Eddie actually doing stuff with Venom, it's the most fun out of the 3 movies. You know what I mean? Eddie's on a road trip with Venom to try to fucking get to New York. And then during that, he's also being hunted by the symbiote eaters and Null and shit. And that part's just fun. As soon as he makes it to Vegas, the movie then is fun for the entire rest of the runtime. It's just those first 45 where Eddie's kind of doing stuff, and they're really focusing in on these random fucking scientists and the family that Eddie travels with. Where you're just I don't care. But then as soon as he gets to Vegas and Mrs. Chen's there gambling away her lottery winnings.
Yeah.
And then there's a big dance number where Venom and Eddie look like they're about to fuck Mrs. Chang. And I was like, listen, I'm here for it. That'd be insane. And I was hoping there'd be at least one, knowing that it's the last movie, I was hoping there'd be at least one, Venom fucks Mrs. Chang or Venom and Eddie kiss. But neither of those happened. And I was like,
neither of those happened. Is this truly Venom's last dance? Do you think that they executed the ending of the character well?
Dude, yeah, honestly that scene, the scene where I thought they were about to kiss is a really great ending. And then Venom's little self-sacrifice at the end, you're oh. But you know, in the back of your head, you're I know this isn't actually the last one. They're just not going to make any movies. He's going to show up in something else. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And then the after credit scene, you're instantly okay, yeah. Because they even set it up in the movie. Because at the beginning of the movie, they set up him coming back from the MCU after the whole No Way Home thing.
Yeah.
And they capture a little piece of Venom, that little piece that was in the MCU that then traveled back, and they capture it. And then instantly I was like, oh, that's going to be the piece of Venom that survives because it is a piece separated from him. And then at the end, they show the test tube breaking after the whole destruction of Area 51. And I was like, yeah, who would have guessed, man? But, yeah, dude, they got all the fucking Maximum Carnage symbiotes and shit like that.
I heard.
I was sitting there in the theater going, oh my God, Riot, Phage, and Lasher, and Scream, and Agony are on my screen right now, and it's literally like,
how the hell did they get Riot back? I'm not even burned to a crisp.
Fuck no, dude, they got a piece of him in there, and then it lashes on to some random scientist, and then you get like all the symbiotes fighting like Null and like the Null's like symbiote eaters and shit, and it's like, oh, this is kind of cool as hell. Null's in it for like 5 minutes, and it's like 2 minutes at the beginning and 2 minutes at the end, but Null might be better looking than Thanos.
Ooh.
I was like absolutely shocked at how fucking good he looked. That I was like, that is not only the most accurate comic character I've seen, but that is also the coolest looking. And I was just like, damn, they really nailed Null. And I was like, I like Andy Serkis has his voice. He does like a really good Null voice that I'm like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fun. If you got like time to go see it, go see it. It's dumb. There's a okay, right after Venom dies, it immediately cuts to Eddie looking at the Statue of Liberty in New York, and it starts playing a Maroon 5 song while it does a montage of Venom clips from the movie you just saw, and then Eddie sheds a single tear and says, "Goodbye, buddy," and then the movie just ends.
That's hilarious.
It's literally you start seeing slow motion clips of Venom, and you start hearing Adam Levine go, "Here's to the one going on," and I was like, no fucking way. And then the movie just ended, and they were like, "Yup, he's gone." I was like, what the fuck?
It's hilarious.
Died laughing in the theater. But yeah, it's stupid. It's silly. You know what you're getting at this point.
All right, fair enough. Wait, so would you? Cause I saw a leak where because they teased Null. Like I feel like they're trying to like make Null like their Thanos, and like I heard like there was a leak or something. There was like, oh, they're trying to do a Sinister Six movie, and it's gonna be like all the characters that we didn't give a shit about, which was like Morbius, Madam Web, Kraven, and like and Vulture or whatever, going against Null to like that's what they're setting up. They're doing a Sinister Six movie, and the Sinister Six isn't going to be like it's going to be without Spider-Man. They're just going to fight Null. Like that's what I heard.
Yeah, I don't care about any of those other characters, but the one character I do care about is the fact that I heard that there's going to be a rumored Agent Venom movie with Silver Sable in it, and I instantly was like, "Fuck you, I'm there." I was like, no fucking way. That is like the like if you're doing a movie without Spider-Man, the least you can do is give me like a Silver Sable Agent Venom team up movie, so I can fucking like.
Supposed to get a Silver and Black movie, but they just never did it. Like with Black.
This
Cat.
is gonna be Silver and Black, but instead of Black Cat, it's gonna be Agent Venom.
Agent Venom.
Which I'm like, fuck you, I'm there. But yeah, listen, if Null looks this cool, they might be able to pull it off purely through Null just being a cool villain.
I honestly think that it would have been a better move if they just went with Null for like the main villain of like the multiverse saga than just like,
dude, I came out of that theater and I literally was like, honestly, if they just make Null the villain of the multiverse saga, I wouldn't be mad if they subbed out Null instead of like fake ass RDJ Doom.
Mm-hmm.
I was literally like, dude, if they made it Null would be. He's sick looking. He doesn't really need anything beyond I'm Null. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because like,
so
plus it would be great because Null is I would consider Null a multiversal threat, honestly.
Yeah,
like
he is.
So
yeah, yeah, go see the movie. It's silly, fucking. I liked it.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, fuck it.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. Fuck it.
That's me refilming the Eddie Venom kiss scene.
True facts. All right, so last thing we're gonna talk about before we close out is obviously one of the best comic book shows right now that's out right now is the Penguin people. So Seamus and I have both watched it. We're both caught up on this on the Penguin. We're loving it. Yeah, we just want to give our quick thoughts on the Penguin real quick. So Seamus, what do you think, bro? What do you think of the Penguin so far?
This shit's incredible. Like, this shit is on another level. Like, I think it's insane that DC can get these incredible writers to write these shows, and Marvel's still trying to find where their asshole is. Like, DC is able to put together one of the greatest character-driven dramas of the last couple of years, and then Marvel's over there like, what if we had two women kiss for the first time? And it makes Marvel just feel very childish and very much like, you know what I mean? This is like Marvel feels like a baby league at this point, where you're just like, dude, we're all adults. It's not like two women kissing are insane. You know what I mean? You guys should have had gay characters like a decade ago. Meanwhile, DC's over here like postulating on women's role in society and how mental health advocates are treated after being put in the dirt, and like how women are regularly put down in male-dominated roles, and how then women are able to then take back their power through sometimes utilizing the tactics of the men who oppress them. And you're just like, that is already something that is far more complex than anything Marvel's put out. And I think that's why this show's so great, because they're not afraid to trust the audience to be adults and think, critically.
This show is so good. People have literally been nicknaming it like the DC's version of like The Sopranos. That's how good the show is. It like, I think first and foremost, I think Colin Farrell. Like, again, I loved him in the Batman as Oz. Well, the fact that his performance in the show is so good, I keep forgetting there's a handsome Irishman underneath all that prosthetic makeup, because it just like it's incredible performance.
I keep forgetting Bullseye's under that makeup.
Right. It's just like, man, it's crazy. But yeah, man, I think he's doing a great job. I think Christina Milioti, this is like the best performance of her career. She's come a long fucking way from How I Met Your Mother. It's crazy. She's
come a long way from The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes. I love Sophia Gigante in this show a lot.
Listen, whenever she's on screen,
episode was nuts.
Yeah,
it's the best episode of the whole show, I think.
Whenever she's on screen and one of them fits, I am Gigante. Let's say that.
Yeah.
But it is serious, isn't it? That Arkham episode was serious, wasn't it?
Oh my lord!
But it's not funny, is it?
It's crazy, dude, and it's by far like, again, like,
it's one of those. It's one of those villain origin stories where it's like, I get it. Do whatever you want, lady. I get it.
It's I remember, like, when the Batman came out, like, their version of Gotham is like what I pictured Gotham to be like in my head, like just shit. Like I right. This version of Arkham Asylum is exactly how I pictured it. Like, it's just a crackpot of just like. Like demented, like insane. It's like the Arkham Asylum book, like the House of like the Joker focused graphic novel. Like,
Serious House on Serious Earth.
Exactly. Like it felt like that come to life, in my opinion, but like a more grounded version of that. I loved it, dude. Yeah, it's just Oswald and Sophia, like pretty much like at a dick measuring contest to see who can control Gotham. Like it's really good, and also like just the damage they cause along the way in terms of the people that they affect, how they infect Gotham as a whole, the criminal underworld as well. It is really, really, really good. Shout out to my boy Renzi Felice, who was my boy Alex Wilder in The Runaways, who plays Victor in this. He's also a really good character, as Oswald's right hand man. Pretty much his apprentice, pretty much that turned into his right hand man. It's dude, like his mother, the actress who plays Oswald, who plays Mrs. Cobb, amazing performance, and probably a really good, like, representation of how like dementia works. I think it's really cool. Yeah, this was great. Like the fact that like this is like the life of this show is not only like showing us like this the kind of like the growth of this version of like how Oswald of this version of Oz will turn into the Penguin going forward in the Batman universe, the Matt Reeves universe. But like it's an incredible mafioso like drama, you know, like hitting back to the Sopranos. This was my most anticipated show of the year, and this show will definitely be like one of my favorite shows of the year by far. Like it's really, really good.
Yeah.
And it just sucks because like I really want Batman to show up, but you know what?
No, he doesn't need to, because they even listen. I've seen people talk about that. We've talked about that. I don't think
so many memes.
Because they even explain at the end of the Batman literally says, I need to go away and think about what kind of symbol I need to become, because I need to become a symbol of hope, or else the vengeance that I have will infect this city and make it darker. So like he literally at the end of that goes away. And also it's only been like 2 weeks since that happened.
True.
There's one, the first time skip is only the beginning of the show is only a week after I think only a week or a couple days after the Riddler flooded Gotham. And then there's that time skip between like at the beginning of episode 7, I think 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And then that's only 10 days. So it like max time has passed is between like 12 and 17 days. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, of course Batman isn't going to instantly show up because he literally just had to go away after causing a fucking national incident because he was too vengeance focused and accidentally inspired a psycho to bomb Gotham. Of course Batman isn't instantly going to be back in the streets like, when you're selling mushrooms to kids. You know what I mean? He's going to be like, wait, I got to really consider who I want to be as a person. And it's like,
exactly.
Yeah, so don't have him fucking show up in the show. I don't need him right now.
We're just gonna see we're just gonna see what happens at the end of this fucking show where like Oswald and Sophia gotta kill each other.
That's what I'm saying. And you need these criminal bits to be built up during this period where Batman's gone, so that way he has those robust criminal enterprises to be able to bust and interact with in those Batman sequels.
Exactly.
Because if he comes in right now and stops Penguin, then there's no real big criminal organization that he has to like deal with or skirt around. You know what I mean? So it's like let's take the time to build up these things so that way Batman Part 2 is cooler. Come on.
Exactly, man.
I
love, but I'm waiting. I'm very curious to see like when the Batman Part 2 does come out, how Penguin will tie into what we see. Penguin's going to tie into what we're going to see in that film in like 2020.
I wouldn't be surprised if we got a Sophia.
I would love to see Sophia interact with. I would love to see Sophia interact with Bruce Wayne. Like,
I think Sophia is going to survive the Penguin. I think it will be just Sophia and Penguin that survive this show.
Yeah,
I think Vic's going.
Vic to die real bad. I know.
Yeah, I think Vic's going, and Penguin's going to be the first to get him. Because I think the thing is that I think my prediction for episode 8 is I think at some point Vic's going to grow a conscience again and show that he still has a heart. And he's going to betray Penguin for a very good reason or something. You know what I mean? He's going to do something that it's like, yes, Oz, you were a piece of shit. Of course he'd do that. But of course Penguin is like the little cockroach he is going to somehow survive it and be like, you thought you could fucking double cross me? And then just fucking like kill Victor instantly.
Yeah.
You know? And then we're going to be like, Penguin is a piece of shit. But he's going to live. So that way, in one of the later Batman movies, there can be like a final confrontation between Batman and Penguin where Batman's finally like, I'm going to actually put my fucking hands on you, bro. Because that's also the thing. I don't think Batman should actually like fight Penguin until like the last one. You know what I mean? Because I think he kind of roughed him up in one, and I think every movie he should keep roughing him up, and then in the third one maybe like the Penguin finally is like, "Fuck you, Batman! I'm gonna fight you." And of course, Batman, being a martial arts trained like fucking League of Assassins member, is gonna instantly just fucking demolish the Penguin.
He's gonna pummel the crap out of him.
He's gonna do that punch he did to that random fucking gang member at the beginning of one.
But like this time, not on fucking Venom.
Yeah. Which, like, yeah. So I'm glad he's not in this. I hope that these characters carry over. And given the fact that Matt Reeves was heavily involved in the development of this, I do think that they will show up, because all of these shows that he has are his ideas that he has somewhat planned to an extent. So
yeah, for sure. But yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to the finale, which comes out Sunday.
Yeah,
man, the Penguin, bro, is literally top five best show of the year for me. I love it, and I really want an Emmy for both, at least noms for both Colin Farrell and Sophia and Kristen Milioti. Like
they'll probably get them.
They're killing it. But yeah, any more thoughts on Penguin before we move on before we close out?
I saw the actor who played Dr. Julian Rush on a random podcast with The Undertaker, and I found out he does a wrestling podcast. Which was funny, because I've seen those clips before he was in the Penguin. And then after, I was like, oh my god, that guy is that guy? You know what I mean?
Bro, that's our boy Shades, bro.
And it was just funny to see him talking to The Undertaker. And all the comments were like, Is this what Dr. Rush be doing when Sophia's away? He's on wrestling podcast with The Undertaker.
Oh man, yo! Shout out to Sophia Falcone for being a dying mommy confirmed, which was hilarious to me. I was like, wow, she's not crazy that she's out here like freaking whipping men.
Dude, I wish I was Dr. Julian Rush. You know what I mean? You get domed, you get up, you walk away, and you instantly start talking about pro wrestling with The Undertaker.
Oh man, but yeah, bro. I think that's it, man. I think we're done. I was gonna add the whole like Disney Plus sizzle reel trailer for like all the shows and stuff, but it was just be another excuse for us to talk about Daredevil Born Again, which would like give us like another hour left.
I was gonna say the people already know we like Daredevil Born Again. We know it looks good. We like Muse. We like everyone coming back. Dude, it's great. Ironheart looks sick. The Hood's finally getting an adaptation. I fucking love Anthony Ramos. Fuck you. I'm so glad Scar got fucked over in She-Hulk. What was even the rest of it? They showed I don't give a fuck about What If. They're not going to make me care about What If. It's been 3 seasons.
Really cool.
Eyes of Wakanda, I would be more likely to give a shit about. But was that it? Was it literally just Ironheart, Daredevil, and What If? Spider-Man. Yeah. I mean, that's like 2 seconds of footage that looked all right, so I can't really even comment on that because I don't know what it's actually going to look like when it's done. But I like the art style.
Yeah, it's a cool art style. I think I told you, it reminds me a lot of like the Ultimate Spider-Man PS2 game.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. We did the sizzle.
Yeah, man. But all right, people. Well, thanks for everyone who are watching this or will watch this. We appreciate it. Thanks again for everyone who tuned in for our Fright Month, our second year of Fright Month, which was a lot of fun. If you haven't watched those episodes yet, they're there for you to check out on the playlist on the channel. Again, if people if you have any more suggestions for other books we want to do for Fright Month next year, let us know because we will love to cover them. Please, if you're new to this channel, subscribe and check out all of our other content. For those watching, leave a comment or leave a like on the video and comment down below. Any of this, what have you been reading? What are your thoughts on Agatha? What are your thoughts on Venom? What are your thoughts on Penguin? Is the Absolute Universe better or worse than the Ultimate Universe that's going on right now? Let us know. We'd love to hear it. Feel free to check out all the other After Darks. Feel free to check out Deadly Class, which will be coming back relatively soon before the year's over. I promise you. Check out the One and Dones. Check out the interviews that we've been doing, and I plan on doing more interviews at some point. Again, Kelly Thompson, we want you on the show. We will get you on the show at some point because we love your work, and yes. And check out the reactions. We appreciate all the love and support on the content that we make. Again, the year's wrapping up soon, and again, this has been a slow year for us because of work-life balance and all that stuff. But again, we appreciate all the love and support, and and the subscriber count growing. As always, people, get home safe. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all, and have a good one. All right, peace.
Peace.